Good morning, Charles Van Morgan Live. The Charles Van Morgan Show. We're broadcasting in the morning. We broadcast any time of day, broadcast the news, but we've been doing this here late in the morning. So come on in, Charles Van Morgan in the morning. Let me turn this around here. Yeah, that's what happened yesterday. Good morning, Charles Van Morgan Show. Okay, yeah. Good morning, the Charles Van Morgan Show. So I love this American flag. It's a great way to start. You can see my icon is advertising power to you, the people movement. We've had almost 1 million people watch this show in the past few days. So we certainly appreciate it. We're coming up on 1 million. It'll be a major milestone in less than 2 months. We're getting close to 1 million people listen to the show. So we certainly appreciate that. The Charles Van Morgan Show. I am a sociologist. I have a Master of Arts in Sociology. And I also have a Bachelor of Science degree in business. And I also have a law degree, passed the bar twice. So I'm going to talk about things from an educated perspective, and not only education. You know, you can read stuff in a book and that's not going to stick. You can't put things in proper perspective until you got a few miles on the tires. So I've lived a little while too, lived a few days, so I know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to give you a unbridled, I'm not held down by people in power. I'm on a public sidewalk, speaking truth to power, trying to, but will they let me? They've already put me in jail for speaking truthful things about people in power in the Tennessee government. I backed up with facts. Watch my videos. And they put me in jail for speaking truth to power. They violated the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Imagine that. These dirtbag people in Tennessee government. So we got a show for you today. Studied all day and gonna bring you some things in the marketplace of ideals. You can think about whatever you want to about them. I know there's a lot of detractors on here that lie. And if you keep telling a lie, maybe people will believe it, right? And if a robe says it, if a judge in a robe says it's true, right? Well, I don't beg to differ. You can beg to differ with me because I'm telling you the truth. I don't have to beg. The truth don't have to beg. So listen to the detractors in here begging to differ. Keep on begging, because that's what they're doing. So we're going to talk about social movements. We're going to talk about farm animals. Got a little ditty. I got a little story about some farm animals that I didn't come up with, that illustrate social movements and what they're about, what they do. I mean, the EBT program is getting ready to end. Children are going to start going hungry. Is it time for a social movement yet? Is there enough strain? As long as it's your kid, not your kids, is it all right? I don't think it is, and I don't think it's the president's fault. If Biden was in office, I wouldn't think it was his fault. It's a lot bigger than them, and they certainly don't want the government to be shut down. There's more powerful forces than them at work. They're not the only vote. So don't blame it on them. Blame it on the other people. Blame it on Tennessee government. Where's Governor Lee at? He could very easily get rid of some of the emergency funds to feed the kids. The Christian man that he is, what a hypocrite. He won't do that. He'll use emergency funds that are saved up for him. The emergency funds are funds that are reserved for him and the people in power. So when they have an emergency, your tax money is in a fund, an emergency fund, and they're not stored up for when the EBT program runs dry that feeds little children. I mean, my goodness, you say, well, people should work. You want to put a little 2-year-old, 3-year-old, one that just born to work? I mean, really? It pays for a lot of food for little children. You think they should work? I mean, is it their fault they're born into poverty? I mean, you can use all the excuses you want to. If you don't work, you don't eat. I don't think that particular verse in the Bible where it says that refers to little children or people that can't work. I don't think that's appropriate for that. But you go on and you know, people use Christianity to mistreat people. That's not Christianity. That's not serving God. That's using rules and regulation to bend them in your favor. And the governor claims to be a Christian. He used a church advertising, campaigning for his governorship. He campaigned in a church. And what about the little starving children now, Governor? Are you going to release the emergency fund? No, he won't, because that emergency fund is saved for them when they have a mass problem. When a tornado comes through their area in one of their rich areas, Belmead, or one of the rich areas in the state of Tennessee, and does a lot of destruction. They got money to pay for their own houses, but they want to use your funds to take care of their emergencies. The emergency fund is not set up for little children, because little children don't vote, so he don't care about little children. So when he came out of the church and he said that we have points of agreement, we can't agree to let little children starve, in my mind. If you're going to do that, then I think you need to be impeached and put in jail, and we need to get somebody in office that will feed the children like Jesus did. You know, the leader of Christianity, the one that said to love your neighbor as yourself, and not love your rich neighbor better than little children. I mean, let's just get it straight. Don't run in a church if you want to facilitate and show such obvious hypocrisy. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So is it time yet for strain? Are we having a problem in society when little children in the United States of America are fixing to go hungry in a few days, when the EBT program is going to run out? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a little ditty about farm animals. So hold on to the channel, like, share, comment, and we're gonna talk about what's going on now about social movements, what we can do about all this. We're not helpless. We can do all the stuff about this. We don't have to learn helplessness. So let's see what we got in here. We got a few people. And like, share, comment. Let's see. Trump needs to release funds to feed kids. That's right, he does. I agree with that. So let's see what we got here. If not Democrats or Republicans, that is Jews. People in Gaza die due to starvation. Yeah, they do. They die due to starvation. A lot of it has to do with allowing Hamas to be in power in their country. So maybe they need to get rid of Hamas and quit protecting a terrorist organization. They wouldn't go hungry. So, you know, that's kind of a little bit about their responsibility. So Charles Van Morgan in the morning, come on in. Sniff your fingers. I hope you have a good night, mad, grow, and prosper. Stay blessed. Sniff your fingers. What's happening now? Okay, life ends and you are here. Okay. Who are you? I am Charles Van Morgan. I am a sociologist. I am a criminologist. I have an advanced level of education from the University of Tennessee here in Knoxville. And I am 61 years old, so I learned a few things through life. And so I'm not a novice. I'm not like Charlie Kirk, who has some good ideals but never lived them long enough to know what he's talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I have an education in it, and I also have life lived. So, you know, when I was 31, I didn't know what I know now. I used to have a little confidence in the government. I have zero confidence in the government now. They will breadcrumb you and tell you what you want to hear, and they will violate your rights and take things from you and allege that it's all for your good while they steal from you. People in power do that to you, and what we can do about it is we can vote, and that's what this social movement is about, power to you, the people movement. We can get our government serving us and kick the elite people out of office. that are serving themselves, using the government for their own self-interest, their own power. And this stuff is not stuff I made up. Great thinkers have thought about conflict theory years before I was ever born. And you can plug that into the circumstances going on now. What drives society is conflict theory. So that's where, there's a lot of other theories, but that's where groups fight over scarce resources. They're scarce resources. And groups form, societies, groups form. And these groups of people fight over the scarce resources. And then the people that get the scarce resources above the other people, they try to get more resources, and they try to legitimize their domination of the scarce resources while other people do without, and do various things to legitimize that. And then there's a tipping point where the people without any resources, they're strained, and then they have a mass uprising. That's what social movements are for. And Karl Marx predicted that there would be a complete revolt, overturn of the system. Although that's never happened, there has been some progress made from social movements. So let's talk about Orwell's rendition of the Farm. You can look it up. And Smelser's 1963 remake of that to illustrate social movements. A little ditty that I read in a sociology handbook, and it's pretty interesting. It explains social movements in kind of a ridiculously funny way, but explicates it, draws it out. So let's talk about. So there was an old boar named Major that was on a farm, and everybody respected Major. He well-respected old boar, and he had a dream, and he told the other farm animals, all the pigs and the horses and the cows, that he wanted to speak to them. So they respected old boar, and old Major, he was a boar, and they got up on a stump, and after Johnny had went to sleep, the owner of the farm had went to sleep drunk, as he did every night, and they had a meeting in the barn. Put him up on a stump they got, and he's going to talk to him about the dream he had, but he said first he wanted to talk to them about how hard they worked and how little food they were fed. And he wanted to talk to him about the fact that at the end of their life, when they weren't useful, the farmer would just end their lives. And they were no longer useful to work for him. The fact that they weren't getting what they deserved, that they weren't being treated fairly. So that in the future, his dream was that there would be a revolt, a major changing of the system where humans wouldn't control things like they do. He called it animalism. And you can call this power to you the peopleism. So I'm going to continue the story. Go up here and get across the road. We're live, boots on the ground, Charles Van Morgan Show. Real live news you won't get anywhere else. So we'll continue the story, tell you the rest of the story about the farm animals and old Major, the boar. So that's what he explained to them about what was going on. That his dream was eventually that there would be an uprising, and that they shouldn't continue to tolerate how hard they worked and how little food they got. At the end of their life, they would be put out to dry, and the unfairness in the system. So they listened to old Major, the boar, and they heard stuff they'd never heard before. They would have been on one of their lives living in unfairness, but they listened to these new thoughts that the old boar had. And it was very, very interesting to him. Some of the pigs got together, and yeah, that's pretty cool. The things that old Major said. So let's cross the road safely here. So yeah, they listened to old Major, and they started having meetings in the barn about communication about how they were mistreated when the farmer, we'll call him Farmer Brown, went to sleep at night drunk. And wasn't too many days later that the boar, the Major, get around the bus here, he died. And the other pigs got together, some of the other farm animals, and continued the dialogue. And they didn't know if it happened in their lifetime or when it would happen about the revolt or the takeover of the humans. And the unfair treatment began to communicate and talk about it and have meetings at night when the farmer was asleep in the barn, and how unfair they were treated, how little they had to eat, how at the end of their life, when they weren't no longer useful, when they got older, he'd end their lives. You know, like now where there's not many hospitals, and the food supply system for the older people is drying up with EBT. A lot of people use that system, I mean, that are older that can't work. And what happened is they didn't know when that would take place in their lifetime. The boar Major had died, but they began to communicate, and the message spread within the farm animals how someday they would take over and make things fair and get rid of the humanoids. And they called it animalism. You can call it power to the people-ism. And they treat us like animals. I mean, they really do. And so what happened is, one night on a weekend, Farmer Brown went to town and got so drunk that he didn't come home until Sunday evening, and he fell asleep on his living room floor with a newspaper over his face. And the farm hands got up that morning, and because Farmer Brown was asleep, they milked the cows, but they didn't feed the animals because Farmer Brown wasn't awake. So they went rabbit hunting instead of feeding the animals. So the farm animals got hungry, and they got upset. They got mad, and they hadn't been fed that day. And one of the cows kicked the door open later on in the evening, and they went out and knocked the barn door open where they were locked in and got to the food bins and started eating. And the Farmer Brown woke up, and the farm hands who hadn't fed them ran down to the barn, and they'd never seen that happen before. The farm animals getting unruly, and they were hungry, so they got out whips and chains and started trying to whip and beat the animals because they were getting out of hand. They were trying to eat. So the farm animals, through their communication and in the past, they started fighting back, and they chased the Farmer Brown, and the farmhands said, wow, we've never seen this happen. They got scared, so they got on their heels and started running, and the farm animals chased them off the damn farm. And what happened is, imagine they went to a city and people asked them in the city, what happened? And one of them said, well, I told Farmer Brown it was the new feed had been feeding them, made them go crazy. But the real explanation is it was a social movement, uprising by the animals because of severe mistreatment. They weren't getting fed, and they were being mistreated. And the message started from originally when they were from Major, the old boar. So that was a little way to explain a social movement. All the elements are there. And when we get down to the bridge, we'll go over in detail the systems that set in place a social movement. And I know we're not animals, but they treat us like animals. And the food system for a lot of people is getting ready to dry up. So is it time yet for a social movement to start? And something needs to light the fire, not so we can act violently, but that we can act civilly and overturn this system of injustice across the United States of America. And the way to do that is through power to you, the people, and to vote. Not a violent uprising. We still have a vote, and we need to resist the temptation to go along with the program and vote against people in office that are appointing people that they want you to vote for, that continue this system of injustice. So that's the answer, not a violent uprising. The answer is to vote. So let's talk about the Bill of Rights in our Constitution and the way things are supposed to be lined up that have gotten corrupted over the course of years. And is it time yet to start a movement to overthrow these crooks in power that lay around drunk and don't feed us, and we do all the work, and at the end of our lives there's no hospitals to take care of us, but there is to take care of them. As I explained yesterday, hospitals are closing down. They're not opening up new ones. And you can think what you want, the marketplace of ideals. I can show you right on the corner where I'm at every day where they close down Baptist Hospital. There's a police department where they close down St. Mary's Hospital. And the reason is, if there's hospitals open, the laws in the United States say they have to treat you. If you die in the emergency room, and I've heard of people die in the emergency room where they don't treat you, they make you wait, where you have life-endangering medical needs, and you die in the waiting room, or they give you a trespass order and you have to leave and you die in the back seat of a patrol car. So if they have hospitals open, then they have to treat you. They have to give you medical care, or they get sued for millions of dollars. So the cure for that is don't have many hospitals open. If there's no hospital, there's no institution to sue. So only have a limited number of hospitals where only the rich can go to it. And in the medical insurance, and if you have to go to the hospital, you have to wait in a long line, so that partially detached from their liability. They can only do what they can do. So they are getting rid of us at the end of our lives. So let's see how many people got on here, and we'll continue this dialogue, and we will answer some questions. We'll even answer undecent questions. I'm not afraid of whoever you are on here that is spending your time on somebody that you hate. If I don't like somebody, I stay away from them. But just gives more credence to what I'm saying. So let's see what we got here. So yeah, they are. Hi, Sarah Daly. Hello. Hello from South Australia. Hello, South Australia. And Mark Green, who are you? I'm Charles Van Morgan. I didn't explain that to you. Howdy from Utah. Hello, Aaron Berry from Utah. Charlie Rainbow, Turtles. Life ends and you are here. What's happening now? Sniff your fingers. Okay, what the hell is that about? I have freaking no idea. Some of these people on here, you need to take your medicine. People in Gaza die due to starvation. I've already covered that. Maybe they need to quit voting for Hamas and letting Hamas stay in power. You know, there's a point where you got to take care of yourself. And God bless Israel. You can't say Trump cares about his country. Yes, I can. Trump cares about his country. You can say you don't if you want to, but don't tell me what to say. I mean, you can't say this. In America, it's freedom of speech. You can say what you want to. That's actually against the Constitution. You can say Trump don't care about America. Go ahead and say it. Say it on here. I don't care, because I can say Trump does care about America. I think he does. And then you know what? Millions of people all across this country believe that he does. And you know what? Millions of people across this country believe that Biden cared about this country and still does. I mean, I can say that if I want to. Both of them cared about this country, I think. Both of them have significantly, drastically different ideals. But if you want to act like one president doesn't care about this country, I just can't go there with you. I don't think that's true. I don't agree with that. I'm not on the side of hate. I'm on the side of logic, and sense. I mean, they may be wrong in their beliefs about how to run the country, but I don't think a sitting American president hates this country. I think some of the things they do might look like they do, but I'm not going to say. And I love this country. God bless America. It's not run right now. It's not run right. The state of Tennessee is what I am concerned with, and we'll move across the whole United States. But the state of Tennessee is not run right. The state of Tennessee is run by crooks, people in power, the elite people in power that have the government set up to serve them, that get power based on putting out propaganda, false propaganda, get other people in power, and they feed their families, they feed their children, they feed their relatives off your tax money. Their family and friends don't even have to work. And which brings me to this point. In the news, we have the Tennessee Highway Patrol. There's a video out that is talking about drunk driving and drunk driving enforcement. And one of the supervisors, and they're arresting people right now that are not intoxicated and putting people in jail to get numbers because they're so stressed about having a quota. They say they don't have a quota. And I'm going to disagree with a lot of what people are saying and tell you, because I led the state in drunk driving arrests. There's not a problem with being able to arrest drunk drivers. There's so many of them. And people say, well, it depends on what time of day you work. There's more out at night. It depends on what city. And I get it. That can a little bit lower or raise the amount of drunk drivers that you can arrest. So the problem is on the streets, right here on these streets. I'm even in danger from a drunk driver myself. There's people walking that get killed by drunk drivers. Drunk drivers are very dangerous to themselves and others. Not every drunk driver kills somebody. And there's also people have different tolerances to alcohol. There's some people that aren't safe to drive. They're safer to drive after they've had a little bit to drink because they're alcoholics. Now, whether or not they should be driving is another thing. But they don't reckon they drive safely. And they're not safe. They're at their safest when they've had a little bit to drive. And medications and all kinds of things impair people's ability to drive a little bit. So just a blanket statement, that's what the law does, is a blanket statement that .08, you're too intoxicated to drive, which works well. But there are different variables involved in that. But drunk driving kills people on the highways every day. It kills more people than a lot of diseases. It's a serious problem. Has been for years and years. And there's a way to deal with it. Sociological studies have shown how to deal with it. There's been science put to the question of how to stop people getting dead on the street. And it's a surreal problem. I've been to wrecks where you go and somebody's dead, laying there dead, and you see it and you look how it happened. They went down the road and they went off the road and they hit a tree head on and it crunched them in the car, and then they flipped over. They left the bar and they were drunk as hell. Somebody let them leave the bar and they hit a tree and they crunched themselves in. They flipped over in the road and they're hanging upside down, completely aware, knocked out, and then the car catches on fire and they can't get out because they're pinned, and then they burn to death right in the middle of the road. I've seen that. And when I got to the scene, you know, there's just a skeleton in the bottom of the car, and the smell is so horrible. People say drunk drivers don't kill themselves. Yeah, they do, all the time. That's a fallacy. Happens all the time. Drunk people are dangerous to themselves. When cops ain't there, they kill themselves. When they're there, when they're not there, they kill themselves. And a off-duty deputy saw it happen and calls it in. Couldn't get to her because of the fire, and he has to go to mental counseling because of it. And I don't blame him. It's horrific, and the smell was awful. And a lieutenant at Highway Patrol told me they'd been working for years. This is when I just started seeing this stuff. It was alarming. You put cologne or something under your nose so where you smell that, but the smell of human flesh burn is horrific. And you put it together, what happened is it's just alarming. And somebody left a bar and they do tests for drugs and alcohol, and they got like 9 different drugs in their system and alcohol that they can find in their bones. And it's a serious problem. It happens all across America. And law enforcement and the government's job is to stop that, to reduce it. There's no way we can stop every drunk driver. And we don't have to, they don't have to stop every drunk driver. The thinking is that everybody that drinks and drives is going to cause a mass fatality. And that's not true. Most people that drink and drive make it home safely. Some people that drink and drive aren't dangerous. I've worked wrecks before where a sober person hit a drunk driver. I mean, that's happened. I mean, but we have to have laws and rules, because we know that drunk driving does cause a significant number of people to get killed on the roads. And the way to deal with that, they've done studies, and I'll tell you in a minute, but right now, the Highway Patrol is trying to tell people, making their officers, some of their officers, they don't tell you that, arrest drunk drivers. And there's a video out that somebody sent me that's where a captain is telling people that they wanted 100 drunk drivers a year from troopers, and that if you don't have 100 drunk drivers in arrest, you only have 1.7 activity for the day or something like that, then you're going to get spanked. And there's a couple of troopers out that have been terminated. One of them for cause, because he says that he admitted to a minor offense. And they fired him over a minor offense. And I don't agree with that. You know, people make mistakes. And it was an off-duty incident. But, you know, they hold you to a level of perfection, depending on who you are. And they got rid of my job. And I was leading the state in drunk driving arrests. And they lied about me. So don't go trusting the state and think that if they fire a trooper, they did the right thing. Look at the facts. And interpret the facts the way you see them. If there's a video, don't let them listen to you, tell you how to interpret stuff. Look at yourself and say, does that make sense? And if it doesn't, you got to believe them. They're crooks. They're liars. And another lady is saying that they have a quota and that she was fired, but she is fighting the termination. So that they're alleging that she got rid of, she tried to help one of her family members with a drunk driving offense. What about Kimberly Ogle that used the state highway patrol name to help her one of her friends get out of a major crime, and then she did get out of it, wrote a letter with other troopers to the judge, and she did get out of the major crime. And then she went on to commit more crimes. What about that? They didn't get rid of her because she's in the in crowd, and these people are evidently not. So I'm going to explain what this point is in just a second. So the Highway Patrol knows that arresting drunk drivers lowers the fatality rate. So they're putting a quota on people. They say they're not. But my take on that is, if you're in Knox County or you're in Union County or most major counties across the state of Tennessee, and you can't make 100 drunk driving arrests a year, then you're not doing your job. I agree with the Highway Patrol. You're not doing your job if you don't make a lot of drunk driving arrests. Maybe not 100, but close to it, and doing other things. But I agree with that. The Highway Patrol is not wrong. If you're not making 100 drunk driving arrests a year, then you're not doing your job. I made about 150 a year, or close to 100. So they're not lying to you about that. The problem is not that they want 100 drunk driving arrests a year off trip. That's not a problem. They should. That'll lower people getting killed. I'm not pro people getting killed because I'm mad. That's not true. I'm for people protecting people's lives, and I'll tell you the truth. Drunk drivers are dangerous, and they need to be arresting them and putting them in jail. There's several problems with arresting them. One thing is, now they're changing the law that people are getting stuck with felonies for first offense DUIs, depending on the circumstances, and some of the circumstances are ridiculous. So what they're trying to do is make the penalty harsher, because they can't get people to enforce the law, because they're hiring all their family and friends. And when you have a pie and you got you got about half the pie of family and friends that you're not going to get rid of no matter what they do. No matter what they do, you're not getting rid of that family, that 50%, because that's your daddy or your brother, your uncle, your cousin, and they're privileged, and they ain't got to make a damn drunk driving arrest their whole career. And I wonder about Matt Perry, how many drunk driving arrests he made. I wonder how much he cleaned up the roads. Probably zero. So that quota doesn't apply to everybody. It applies to only 50% of the pie. The 50% that got hired based on you had a degree or job performance or experience like me, and then you go out and do your job. So that quota applies to the 50%. The other 50% don't have to do their job. So in actuality, troopers have to make 200 drunk driving arrests a year to lower the fatality rate, because of the other 50%, like Matt Perry, they don't have to do a damn thing, because he's related to a former Supreme Court justice, and because his daddy's a former captain, and other people in the Highway Patrol that are related to people that don't have to do a damn thing, or people that got their position bought, where somebody contributed. It's $5,000 was in 2000, about 20 years ago, it cost $5,000 to get a promotion. Not 100 drunk driving arrests. They didn't get you promoted. They want you to get 100 drunk driving arrests, but they're not going to allow you to be promoted so you can teach other people to make drunk driving arrests. They're going to promote the people that pay money to their political campaigns, because $5,000 20 years ago got somebody promoted. Look it up. It's in the paper. You can read it. He gets whitewashed, covered up, swept under the rug. They say, oh, no, that's not true. Yes, it is. So nowadays, I guess you can get promoted for $10,000. Now, you can lead the whole state in drunk driving arrests, which they know is important. They're putting out a quota. You can do better than anybody in lowering the fatality rate. That's not important to them. They will get mad at you, discipline you, give you the social pressure to make drunk driving arrests if you're not part of the other 50%. The 50% that who's their daddy, and they ain't got to do a damn thing. And that's what some of the officers do. They look around and say, well, he ain't doing nothing. Why am I getting in trouble? Why are they lowering my valuations? Either lowering your valuations because you're not kissing the ring, you're not bowing down to them, you're out for public safety, or you're not doing your job, or you're look at the people that ain't doing their job and think, well, who's their daddy? Look at their last name and find out who they're related to, or find out who their family members contributed to whose political campaign. It's not about saving lives. It's about protecting the establishment that is crooked. Now, of course, they want the roads protected to some degree. They want the roads for themselves. They want all drunk drivers who are not personally connected or not wealthy to be taken off the roads. They don't want you to use the roads. They'll take you off of them, revoke your license, and put you in jail. But if you're drunk driving and you're well connected, you're in political power, or who's your daddy or your mother, then you get to keep your license, and they slap you on the hand, or the charge goes away. So it all depends on the power structure, not on the crime and the dangers of drunk driving. It's not applied equally across the board. It's not applied according to the Constitution. If it was, I made more drunk driving arrests for more than half a decade. For about more than half a decade than any trooper in the whole state. They got a quota. I blew their quota all to hell. And they know by their own admission that drunk driving arrests, and I'll talk to you about a study that tells you what will lower the fatality rate on Tennessee roadways, and they know it, but they don't care. What they care about, what's number one to them? Number one to the Tennessee Highway Patrol, Matt Perry, because it's what put him in the office of colonel. It's not traffic safety. Lord knows he didn't do a damn thing for traffic safety. The arrogant, do nothing, know nothing that he is. It's who's your daddy and who's the Supreme Court justices. And he didn't arrest 100 drunk drivers a year. Nowhere close. Sitting in office, protected. And so other troopers look around, they say, they want me to arrest 100. And people get promoted that don't, why should I? So, they're working against themselves. If it was traffic safety, I'd be the colonel by now. Over 100 drunk driving arrests a year, led the whole state for more than half a decade. The fatality rate, less people got killed. Little children are alive now because of what I did on the roadway. There's more children dead because of Matt Perry, because he doesn't do his job, because he's saying, you do this, but we're not going to feed you. You work hard. We're going to take care of the people in power. We're going to take care of our buddies. We're going to take care of the money, but you do all the work. Risk your life out here. Get drunks off the road. That's highly dangerous. Troopers out working at night by themselves, expecting even women to do that. And hey, I'm sorry, ladies, but you're not as physically capable as men for the most part. Now, some of them are. Now, I know Major Heatherly, that drunken, smoking sot, couldn't protect herself. They have to resort to deadly force when they can't protect themselves just by fighting somebody. And I didn't have to do that, except for people who had a weapon. And then you're not allowed to even protect yourself. If you use force to protect yourself when you're a state trooper, when you're protecting people or even other officers, and they know this, that's the reason why they're on my side, and you're not one of the people in power or one of the people who has political influence, then these prosecutors will get rid of you. So why should you go out and do what they say when they're going to hang you out anyway? I mean, look what they did to me. I kept the fatality rate down, and I arrested everybody equally across the board. Attorneys in Knoxville's children. And that's why the bar here in Knoxville wanted to get me gone, because you're supposed to arrest drunk drivers, the poor people, the regular populace, but you leave us alone. And I said, no, that's not right. I didn't swear to do that. And you look, see what happened. They said, yeah, you will. We control the hands of power. We don't care if our kids kill people. You keep your damn hands off them. We'll get them out of the murder that they do. You don't arrest them and bring them before the courts. And I literally I had attorneys in the back hallway of the Knox County City County building behind these dirty judges. And I don't know why they get mad at me. The dirty judges let them out of drunk driving charges anyway, because they were friends of somebody they knew that contributed to their political campaigns. So one of them come back there and arrested his daughter after a pursuit. She even ran on a flat tire. She hit a curve. And a lot of times, drunk drivers driving around on a flat tire. I mean, you have a flat tire, you pull over and stop, and usually you call a wrecker, or you at least just drive to a gas station, a well-lit area if it's at night. She was driving downtown on Main Street, no gas stations the direction she was going. I tried to stop her. Driving on a flat tire is a good reason to stop people. A lot of times they're drunk because they'll hit a curve. Not all the time, but that's in DUI enforcement called a clue. And I tried to stop her, turn on blue lights, pulls over on Main Street. This is an attorney's daughter. And just like anybody else, I treat everybody the same. I don't care if it's a damn judge. That's why judges get killed in car wrecks, because they've been stopped 100 times for drunk driving, but the officers don't arrest them. Maybe you need to put them in jail like you should. The reason why they don't is they'll lose their jobs because they're off limits. The citizenry of the state of Tennessee, you're open territory, you're open fire. You're like a farm animal. They can go after you. It don't matter. They can beat the hell out of you. It don't matter. You leave them alone or we'll get your job and lie about you. And that's what happened to me. I mean, a quota hell, I burned their quota all to hell and made them look like a bunch of damn fools. It's not that hard to find 100 drunk drivers. It's not that hard. Even in a county that doesn't have that many. They put me on day shift. When I was on administrative leave, or when they were re-investigating me after I already investigated me. They investigated that wreck, put me back to work, full uniform. I made 20 drunk driving arrests in December. Major Stacy Heatherly, the liar creep that she is, came to my house. I mean, what a stalker. What a stalker. And she's a major now with THP. Lying about valor, and nothing's done. I mean, you got a major that's still in valor. I mean, you know, post that worldwide. Major Stacy Heatherly says she served in 1175th Division, the Tennessee Army National Guard. Never served today, and she's a major. And they knew that before they promoted her. The Christian governor promoted her. So, I mean, that's what you got in Highway Patrol. She couldn't even do a field sobriety test herself. I've seen her on roadblocks. Used to work right there with her. She'd try to tell people to stand on one leg. She'd fall over. She's probably drunk on the job. So that's and promoted. Who's paying who for that? But I was in the back hallway after I arrested that lady for drunk driving. She stopped, and then on Main Street, and then when I got out of my car and walked to her car, she took off. And blue lights, a marked patrol car, full uniform, trooper hat, no mistake. Attorney trying to argue that she was afraid, didn't know who I was. Yeah, she didn't know what world she was in. She's so damn drunk and dangerous to herself and others. And he should have thanked me for taking her into custody where she couldn't kill herself. They don't think that way. They're out of their damn minds. They're lunatics that run this state. They're crazy. They're so drunk on their power. You don't arrest one of our kids. Well, if you put me in a state trooper uniform again, I'd do it today. And I had it out with them. They had it out with me at the Attorney General's office about who I could arrest and who I couldn't. And I disagreed with it. But that's not right. That's public corruption at its worst. So they got rid of me for arresting them when they deserved it. And numbers don't lie. And what they said is a dirty lie. So the fact that they're saying 100 drunk driving arrests, they put me on day shift. I made drunk driving arrests on day shift. They're out there. It's not that hard to arrest 100 drunk drivers. So I disagree with the assumption that 100 drunk driving arrests a year is too much for a trooper. They can do that. That's not too much. And they should do that. I'm not going to say, no, they're asking too much of them. And they need to do it fairly across the board. Drunk driving arrests should be made because it saves lives. And to say the least, something pretty insignificant property. But I arrested that lady, finally got her stopped over here on Blunt Avenue after she went all the way across the now closed down Gay Street Bridge. And I'll tell you what happened. So yeah, we got a bunch of people in here. Thank y'all for joining me. And it was on fire when he returned. The Knox K-Town. Okay, yeah. He got caught fired. Now he's the same old Angry trooper, he always has been. Yeah. Yeah. Look at the video yourself. And I'll talk about that, giving me a good chance to defend myself. Because you can lie, keep lying. That's what Hitler did. Kill the Jews, kill the Jews. Yeah. Mass fatalities across the United States. I lowered the fatality rate, I didn't raise the fatality rate. If it's your job to look for drunk drivers, this is another reason why troopers don't arrest drunk drivers, because if they do and something bad happens, then they'll get fired. And if you're around drunk people, because you're doing your job, bad stuff's gonna happen. I mean, you're around drunk people in cars, bad stuff happens. Mass fatalities all over the world because of that. But if your job is to look for them, you're gonna be around them. But if you're around them and bad stuff happens, which it's going to, it's inevitable, they're drunk. You can't control them, you can control yourself. In that pursuit I was in, I didn't hurt anybody. Drove safely, slowed down for a red light, drove safely, didn't hurt anybody. Didn't run him off the road or anything. Didn't do anything wrong. Didn't do one damn thing wrong. But I was around a drunk driver, so they drugged me in the little sick hole and tried to spin it. I lowered lives. He could have killed himself if I wasn't there. He was doing speeding if it had been on the interstate. I mean, see how what they did was dirty lie that raised the fatality rate. So, if people are sick enough to believe that kind of garbage, go right ahead. I'm not afraid of anybody. I didn't run from anybody, risk my life. And if anybody feels guilty and wants to try to hurt me, I stay armed all the damn time. I'm not running. So get off that damn YouTube app and get out here and get giddy. And so YouTube, we'll just sit down and discuss things civilly if you think that's what'll go down. Troopers that know me, tell me, don't mess with him. If bad stuff happens, I'm the one they'd want with me. I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid to be a coward, although I don't have any death wish. That's why I know the difference between cover and concealment. And you can read about it, I'm not going to tell you. But I'm hard to kill. Lord knows THPP's tried to do it, them dirty. They're sick people. There's some sick people. The major's a sick hunchback. The hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah. Colonel Mike Perry babied all his life, now mandating people make 100 drunk driving arrests a year. Here's a challenge. Every trooper do what Mike Perry did. He got major, do what he did. Look at his record, see how many drunk driving arrests he made, and see what he did. Do exactly what he did and see what happens to you. That'd be fair, wouldn't he? He made it the major, he must have done the right thing. Do what I did, what he's telling you to do. I did better than what he's telling you to do, and see what happens to you. You'll be unemployed. That's the message they sent. Don't blame me for their message. They'll try to make people angry at you and hate you for doing what you should be doing. So that's the message Matt Perry sent, not me. Look into his record, troopers, and say, wait a minute, now I'm doing exactly what he did. Yeah, and see what happens to you. So to play their little game, but don't go along with the program. I'm not telling you to lose your job. I'm telling you to make as many drunk driving arrests as you can to protect society, which is what I did. And be as political as you can, but I'm telling you what you're doing is dangerous. I wouldn't want to be a cop nowadays because you can't be. They put you in an impossible situation where they demand stuff and then something bad happens and they get rid of you. But the attorney came back in the back hallway. I'd arrested his daughter. Should have thanked me. Mad as hell. How dare I do that? His daughter was afraid. Yeah, really? I saved his daughter's life. She didn't even obey the law because they don't have to. They don't have to obey the law. There's no law for these elite attorneys in the Knox County Bar, and they know it. They're the dirtiest, sickest, disgusting individual in the United States of America. The Knoxville Bar. Attorney Randy Nichols. Not worth the plug nickel. It's got buildings named after him. He thinks his name will go on forever. Randy Nichols stands for trash, dirty, gaslighter that's guilty of the things that he accused me of. A dirtbag man. Nobody will say that. I'll say it. I'll say it. They are. They cause little children to get killed. And they still do to this day. So the thing about the quota, where those troopers are speaking out, it's illegal to have a quota. They expect troopers to make 100 drunk driving arrests a year or have higher activity in other areas, but they're pushing to load the jail full of drunk drivers, get as many of them as you can. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. People say, "Oh, I'm going against people that are against the truth." The truth is, according to studies, my sociological criminology degree, a Master of Arts from the University of Tennessee, they did a study, and I'll show you some of the details of it, because it's been well known through years and years, back in the early 19th century when they started having cars, that people die as the result of drunk driving. So they started studying how to reduce drunk driving deaths. And it's a horrendous problem. It's a social problem. Now, they don't want to say that. They want to act like it's all a criminal problem. Lock everybody up that drinks and drives, and that will solve the problem. Now that's a good start. That's emergency on the tail end, because it's already gotten out of hand. First step that they haphazardly try to do, because they send mixed messages: don't drink and drive, don't buzz drive, unless you're them, because they have THPP parties where troopers go to their parties and leave in patrol cars drunk off their ass. Now, the mixed message is, if you're a trooper, you can drive a patrol car drunk on the job, and if they fire you, they have to, it looks bad on them, then a judge in Tennessee will put them back to work. Now, that's literally happened. So which one is it? It's bad to drink and drive, harsh penalties, or it's not that bad to drink and drive, even in a patrol car, if you're one of us and not the mass populace. Now, that's the way it is. It's bad to drink and drive if you're one of us, if you're one of the citizens or the mass population. It's horrible. And they don't want to just punish you. They want to take your license and remove you completely for the rest of your life from the roadways. They don't want you to use the road, period. So if you get a drunk driving charge, then they want you off the roads for the rest of your life. They don't want you to be able to use the public highways. And that's what they'll try to do. That's why they keep going up on the penalties. It's not to reduce drunk driving. It's to make the roads for them so that they can drink and drive down the roads, and they're less likely to be killed by another drunk driver. Now, that's just the truth. And you heard what I said. They're not against drunk driving for them. They're for drunk driving for them. They condone that. They allow that. They fire troopers that will arrest people in power drinking and driving. But here I am, an example. I'll put them in jail for drunk driving, and look what happens. They defame me and fire me. So they're not against drunk driving. They're pro-drunk driving. They're against drunk driving for the mass populace. They're not against drunk driving, for example, for Bill Lee. He can drink and drive all he wants to. They're not against drinking and driving for Tennessee state troopers, off duty or on duty, because they have been on duty. There have been documentation of them on duty, driving a patrol car drunk off their hind end. That's a fact. Look at these news articles and put them together, not how they spin the story. There's one of them that was on the job that blew an alcohol level in uniform, state trooper, that beautiful patch there that they're so proud of, that hat. He had that hat on, that patch on, he had alcohol on him on the job. They weren't against that. A judge said that's okay. He still got a job today. So it's okay for them. So let's get the facts straight. Let's get the facts straight. Here's the message from THPP. The message, kind of contradictory if you look at it from our perspective, but it makes perfect sense if you look at it from conflict theory, from who's in power and who ain't in power. Let's see, and we'll continue this dialogue. So yeah, people must not like the truth. Oh yeah, that's right, if you do. Okay, so yeah, these people don't like me telling the truth about these dirtbags. So the truth is, here's the truth. about THPP, the Tennessee Highway Police Patrol. That big fancy hat that stands for corruption, protect the elite, and stomp on the populace. Hell, they're arresting. There's probably drunk troopers out on the road, maybe right now, that are drunk on the job right now, that are arresting sober Tennesseans. Yeah, I said it, and I got evidence to back that up. That is just the honest truth. One of them was on the job in uniform. He's not the only one. He's the one they detected, so they had to fire him. But then a judge put him back to work. So there's probably drunk troopers. So the trooper that stops you when you're sober, and he's trying to give you a sobriety test. Now, I'm not telling you to what I would do myself, and that's me. Don't do this. I would ask you to, if you're drunk, face your punishment for what you did. If you're not drunk, I would tell them that, and I would take the fifth. Don't give them any information. They'll twist it and lie on you, and try to get a blood test, because that'll prove your innocence, if that's even correct. And then after they give you a blood test and you're released, you got to write then when the trooper before it asks for another blood test of your choosing. So if you got a doctor, ask them to take you to your doctor's office. Now they won't do it, but you got to have a right to ask, to get that on the record, and ask them to go to your doctor's office and get a blood test that'll be unbiased, unlike the one they got. So we're here on the bridge, Henley Street Bridge, a beautiful bridge. Look over the Day Street Bridge. Thank y'all for joining me. So you won't hear this stuff anywhere else. So right there in that courtroom, in that back hallway, is where a Knoxville attorney got mad at me, part of the Knoxville bar, for protecting his daughter because they're off limits. So the message of the Highway Patrol is arrest as many drunk drivers as you can. Let's compete the sentence, fill the jails full of them, not us. And even do it when you're drunk. Doesn't matter. And if you have to do a few sober ones to get the numbers up for general deterrence that they think is, then go ahead and do that. It's fine. Get those numbers up. And some troopers don't even know how to do it. They're not even trained right. Because people train them, like Steve Sacrapani, that doesn't do it himself. It doesn't. It's not a professional in drunk driving. He tried to tell me how to do it when I put more people in jail than anybody in the state, trying to tell me I was doing it wrong. I was doing it wrong because I was arresting people in elite power. So, and I know, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, y'all, I'm not making this stuff up. I'm presenting my case truthfully and factually, and I'm not mad about it. I'm doing it to protect you. My motive is to protect human lives. Power to you, the people, to give you your government back, let you make decisions instead of this elite group of creeps and dirtbags and thugs and criminals that are controlling the judicial system and controlling the government right now. So my message is, they're right. They should expect troopers to make at least 100 drunk driving arrests a year, or have significant activity in another area and maybe a little less than 100. The most important thing, one of the most important things they do is arrest drunk drivers, because that stops wrecks and stops people from getting killed, and even stops people that would kill themselves drunk from getting killed. Gives them another day to live, and hopefully they learn better than to drink and drive and kill somebody else another day. Sometimes you wonder if you're not keeping them alive to kill somebody else another day. But that's not your decision to make. That's God's decision. So my message is one of truth, is They should arrest every drunk driver they can, do it completely across the board. Right now they can't because of the leadership. They can only arrest people, the regular populace like me and you. They can't arrest people in power. And they've got them in a no-win situation. And the other half of the people in the highway patrol don't even have to arrest anybody because they're family members of somebody and they're going to get promoted, like the colonel, that don't do a damn thing. So people, other troopers, they expect me to get out here and risk my life at night by myself and arrest people. Or some of them work day shift by myself and do all this dangerous work. Arresting people is one of the most dangerous things officers do. And they expect me to do this, 100 of them a year, while the other side of the pie is going to get promoted like Matt Perry for doing not a damn thing. I mean, look, compare me to Matt Perry. I made 150 drunk driving arrests a year, and I'm not sure how many he did, but I know the average trooper when I worked made 2. So if he was an average trooper or a little better, double the average trooper, he made 4 drunk driving arrests. I made 150. So what percentage is that, how well I did better than him? He's the colonel, I don't have a job. I had at that time a Master of Arts in criminology from the University of Tennessee. He had no education, basically. I had 10 years of law enforcement experience working with University of Tennessee Police Department. Did great things for them there. And he didn't have that much experience. He's not nowhere, he's a lot younger than me. So what's the difference? Is who's your daddy? So you're asking these people to get out here and risk their life for public safety, and they should want to do that. When they see people moving all the way up the rank, getting thousands and thousands of millions of dollars throughout their career for doing nothing. So you're asking them to go out here and work hard, get 100 drunk driving arrests a year, which they should do, and I did anyway. I knew the system wasn't right. I was trying to get out of law enforcement. I was trying to go to law school to get my law degree, to get the hell out of that THPP baloney, the corrupt agency that they were. People get promoted, and you look, well, who's their daddy? And there's nothing you can do about it but get the hell out of there. So if I was a trooper, I'd get the hell out of there. They come to these universities. Major Heatherly was at one of these, at the University of Tennessee, Thompson Bowling Arena. They want to recruit college students. She's there as a high conflict supervisor, recruiting college students. Doesn't have any college degree. And if you have a college degree and you go to work for them, they'll ruin your college degree if you don't worship the establishment. So when they're at these college institutions wanting you for your degree to make their highway patrol look better, then you better do what they tell you, even if it's criminally wrong, or they'll ruin your college degree like they tried to do to me, try to make it worthless. But I haven't learned helplessness. I know what the truth is. The truth matters, has weight and value, and people that lie, then we're going to try to make them cry. Not literally, but so my message is, troopers, make as many drunk driving arrests as you can. I get the hell out of that agency. It's not worth a hill of beans. They'll just try to destroy your life. That's how wicked these people are. But realize you're spinning your wheels with them because they don't care about public safety. And I know troopers arrest people because of who they are, and they let rich people drink and drive, because a trooper got promoted in Jefferson County that bragged about how many cars he seized from people. He would stop older model cars, bragged about it, stop older model cars and pick on poor people. You stop older model cars, who's in older model cars? People that can't afford the BMWs and the Mercedes. They leave those alone. They know what car to stop, what not to stop. The lady that worked for the airport, the screener that got fired from her job, stopped by a trooper near Memphis the other day. That's what she said. They stop you based on your car. Well, I can tell you, former trooper, hell yeah, they do. I've heard them say it. Because they know that people that don't have expensive cars don't have a lot of political clout or money. They don't have power. They're part of the populace. They're part of the mass population of people like us, that they can mistreat. They don't stop people in BMWs, they're judges. They don't stop people in Mercedes. You look at these cars parked in this courthouse down here. Mercedes, BMWs, expensive cars. You look at the cars parked at the at the attorney's office where the Knox County Public Defender's office. They're poor people's cars. You won't see a Mercedes parked in those cars. And it's not because they don't work hard. Some of them work really hard. These judges don't work hard. Court starts at 9, they show up at 10 or 11. Half drunk part of the time probably. So, and they pick on poor people. They pick on poor people. They won't stop a bunch of people in BMWs and arrest them. They'll let them get by. That's why you hear judges, they don't get caught until they get dead. There's a judge in Jefferson County. He was praised to high heaven for how great he was. He was a drunk. He was a drunk. The newspaper talks about he had wrecked his car. He had wrecked his car, and he had wrecked his car, and he was walking around drunk. He wrecked his car because he was drunk, and he was walking around drunk, and he got out in the road, and somebody hit him and killed him. How many times had he drove drunk? How many times had he drove drunk, and police officers let him go because he was a sitting judge? But if you were in the same situation, they'd put you in jail. But he's probably driving a fancy BMW, whatever, and they stop him, know he's a judge if he's all over the road, get him a ride or something. They take care of those people. Or if he's a member of the media, oh boy, they love the media because they put out good information. They lie for them really good. They lied about me, the media. It's all over the media. Oh, we want to get rid of him, news media. You know what's interesting? They put out, somebody stole the copy of the pursuit I was in involving the potential of a homicide. They don't know. I could have hit him, run him off the road, and shot him in the head. It was a homicide video where somebody died. It could have been a homicide. I didn't kill him. It's involving the death investigation. It was a death investigation. No, I didn't hit anybody. He killed himself. Somebody took that video out of evidence and gave it to the media. Who took it out of evidence? There's only a few people knew that it happened. Major Stacy Heatherly now knew it happened. She watched the video, wasn't even my supervisor, so we know she violated general orders. So she watched that video of the pursuit I was in, that was in a homicide, in a death investigation, which could have been a homicide. And there's not many people even know that. Her and the captain knew that. And then all of a sudden, the next day it gets given to the news media. Who gave it to the news media? They accused me of giving it to them. I didn't give it to the news media. That's a dirty, sick lie. It's called gaslighting, accusing you of doing what they did. She gave it to the news media. A felony, tampering with evidence. Major Stacy Heatherly probably committed a felony. She's the one that knew about it, and she had ties with the media. She took the video out of evidence, probably, which is a felony, tampering with evidence against their general orders, and gave it to the news media. And it's interesting. She expected people to say what she was wanting to infuriate, wanting to get me and my family killed is what she was wanting to do. Major Stacy Heatherly with THP. She was wanting for me to be dangerous and my children. She even showed up at my house, almost pulled her gun on me. How dangerous these sick people are. They're dangerous. You know, if she comes back again, she might want to learn to dance, if you know what I mean. Because, I'm just saying. But THPP, keep your people off my damn property. You got that? If you got a warrant or something signed from a judge, that's fine. I'll obey the law. But you come to property trying to damage or hurt me, that is, you'll see what's going to happen. But leave me alone. Let me have my First Amendment right. She can call news presses today and say Van Morgan's a liar. Go ahead, do it. You've done it for years and years. They do it in the academy. Run me down to this day in their dirty, sick academy. That's completely worthless. I went to other academies, another academy where they teach you how to do law enforcement. That academy, they teach you how to worship the brass. They come in and you stand up. The higher they are, the more you salute. Step over the dead bodies on the road and salute Stacy Heatherly, and you'll be just fine. You ain't got to arrest a drunk driver. Worship the brass. That's what it is with THP. I don't care if you get killed out here. I don't care. They don't want to get killed themselves. Although it's getting so bad now, they're trying to force the law because some of them are getting hit by drunk drivers. So it's a little bit of a problem when they start getting hit. So yeah. But that's why they want to enforce the law now, because Major Stacy Heatherly got hit by a drunk driver. So we need to make sure she don't get hit. Let's worship her. That's what the government is for, to worship these people in authority. I'm just telling you the truth. That's the truth. I have a sociological education, and that's what's going on right now. They're protecting the elite people at the expense of the major populace, and I'm just explaining to you how it's going on. And you can look in the papers and see. She got hit by a drunk driver, and all of a sudden they're putting out, there used to be 100 drunk driving arrests they make so we don't get hit. We see it's a problem. They're like gluttons. They don't care about something until it starts affecting them. They don't care about the populace. They could care less. They shouldn't be in major power in the government. They should be in a government jail is where they should be. They need to get government tax money in the lunch that they get, peanut butter and jelly, off a tray given to them by corrections officers. What they need to be getting. They're more dangerous than your average criminal. So they don't care about drunk driving. They care about their dirty, nasty selves. And it's interesting. They put that video out. She did, probably committed a felony. Ought to be in jail, trying to make people kill me, hate me, put my picture all over the paper, and let people know where I lived at. And the video came out, and people looked at it in a rational way, and a trooper drove past the wreck he didn't see. And there was no uprising. It was out for a week. Nobody said anything. Somebody killed herself in a drunk driving wreck. Big deal. Off the road in the dark. You know, a trooper drove past a wreck that was off the road in the dark, not on fire, not overturned, not obvious, under a tree dark. They tried to say there's street lights. No, under no street lights. Nobody got infuriated. Nobody, you know, it was a normal thing. It's like a referee in a Georgia football game this last week, or every day. Almost every football game, they have the same instance happen where a referee calls something on the field. He calls it like the Georgia game where the Georgia football player, the Tennessee football player, the Georgia football player, I think it was, about scored a touchdown. And they didn't call it a touchdown because they didn't see the ball go across the line. All they have to do is break the plane. So they review the video. And they review the video, slow it down, and they see the ball cross the plane, so they say a touchdown. After they review the video on the field, the referee didn't see it, didn't call it a touchdown. He didn't know. It's easy to look at a video later and say, yeah, that's what happened. And then they don't fire the referee and say the referee's deceitful and dishonest. Everybody get mad at him and go try to kill him and his family like Stacey Headley tried to do. Because it was on a video. She thought everybody would get infuriated. They didn't get infuriated. This is a major over THPP, stolen valor, criminal that ought to be behind bars, drunken monkey, made decisions with the captain back behind the THPP post, smoking cigarettes, talking about how to get rid of people, and watching a video that she wasn't even supposed to watch. And the major said that my supervisors had agreed that I'd done something wrong. When my supervisor that was over me, she wasn't over me, gave me all fives and said that in every area that I acted appropriately after that incident happened. So that wasn't true. He lied under oath. All the supervisors didn't agree with that. So Colonel Tracy Trotz to the bathroom is a liar, a criminal. He lied under oath. It's in his deposition. He's a liar. He ought to go to jail. He's a fraud. Cause people to get killed, taking somebody off the road that's making over 100 drunk driving arrests a year. They say that's important, but what really is important is not 100 drunk driving arrests. It's you got to make 100 drunk driving arrests if you're not one of them, if you're not one of the in crowd, if you're not one of the elite, if you're not somebody that has money that contributes to their political campaigns, or if somebody in the highway patrol is not your daddy, then you got to make 100 drunk driving arrests a year. And if you make 100 drunk driving arrests a year, you got to watch out who you arrest, because if you arrest the wrong people, like an attorney's daughter or other people that are arrested that have big names, then you're told not to arrest them. If you tell them that you're going to follow the law, then you will lose your job. So it's not about arresting people. But then people didn't say anything. Obviously, the referee at the Georgia game didn't see it. They seen it on video. That's not fair to hold somebody accountable to something that happens in real time, where you can watch a video later and say, this is what happened, because we see it on a video. You can't hold the person in real time to the accountability of what you see in a video later, which is what they did. I mean, they really got that by, and the court system said, yeah, that's all right. It's because the court system is who's your daddy or your mama or who you're related to. Notice the colonel is related to a Supreme Court justice, and he's the colonel. If he'd have had a case in court, he'd have won, wouldn't he? So your court system is crooked as hell, dirty as hell. Dirty as hell. They run emergency equipment. These judges going to the courthouse because they blow their horn to get through. They're not supposed to turn left there. They do anyway. So yeah, they're late for work. They're breaking law. There's a no turn sign there. And they turn anyway. Hello. Somebody yelling obscenities. They don't like the truth. So that video was put out several weeks, no narrative, and people just think, well, the Georgia referee didn't see it. The trooper didn't see it. It's obvious. Even a witness on the scene didn't see it. So then they add a narrative to it. Somebody calls the news and said, "Oh, the trooper seen the wreck." You're not following the narrative we're seeing. Then they add that narrative to it, and they start going on the story that the THPP tells the news. We want a clobber van, so let's spread this false narrative about him and try to get him killed. That's what Major Stacey Heatherly trying to get me killed, right? Well, let's spread the narrative about you. You ought to be in jail. You're stealing valor. You're a dirtbag. You're responsible for your own wreck that somebody hit you because you don't enforce the law. Going on news shows talking about there's 3 problems to drunken driving. Where'd you learn? What school did you go to learn that? No school at all. You're a babbling freaking idiot. That's disgusting. Wrinkled pants, drunk. I mean, wow. And that's the symbol of a trooper. Y'all, troopers, I mean, I'm just saying, look at that patch and that hat they tell you to be proud of, and then look at that. Look at that. I mean, really? And I mean, that's pretty disgusting. That speaks for itself. And her husband is responsible for investigating wrecks. They'll come out to Iraq and say, what do you want me to say, Major Headley? You want me to accuse this person? Hey, they're a judge, or they're your honor. This is old Joe down the street and got political clout, and we're going to blame him because that's what they do. Their investigations are dirty as hell. They'll accuse whoever they want to and lock up whoever they want to. It's gotten that bad. They're not going to feed you like the farm animals. They're going to work you to death, and they're going to beat you to death. It's what they don't want you here. They don't want you driving on the roads. They want the roads open. They want the roads open so that they can drive down the roads drunk, and they don't have to worry about a citizen drunk hitting them. And they want the roads open. They'll even put people in jail that weren't even drunk because they want the roads all for them. They don't want you driving on their roads. That's their roads. They want you to pay for them, but they don't want you to drive on them. You can ride a bicycle to work. You won't drive on the roads. The roads are for us. Silly rabbit. The roads are for us. The government is for us, and you're supposed to serve us and worship us. So the 100 drunk driving arrests a year. That 100 drunk driving arrests for people that aren't that don't have privilege, for people that don't have a daddy or a mama or somebody in the Supreme Court or somebody that contributes probably $10,000 to the political campaign every year, then you have to make 100 drunk driving arrests a year. The people that are promoted don't make drunk driving arrests a year. They are people that are somebody that's privileged, and so you've got to risk your life for nothing except for you're doing your job. And I did. As long as I was there, I was trying to get the hell out of that crooked agency run by a dirty governor, right now Christian. He knew Major Stacey Heatherly was committing stolen valor, and he promoted her. And also she was stealing comp time. I mean, working while she was on comp time, not supposed to be working, supervising when she wasn't supposed to. So the 100 driving arrest a year applies only to if you're a nobody, if you're a member of the populace. Nobody, according to them, a farm animal. And it only applies if you don't contribute to their political campaigns. And it's not going to do you any good. If I were you, I'd get the hell out of there. So then after she told them what to think about the video, he saw the video. Then they start putting out, oh, he saw the video and following that false, fake, crooked narrative, which was completely false. But that's why I'm selling a book called The Former Trooper Charles Van Morgan Story in an effort to save lives and correct the record. If we really want the roads safer, we've got to get rid of the establishment. in office now and vote people in office that will apply the law fairly across the board, because it ain't fair at all now. If you think you can go get fairness in a Knox County courthouse or in any courthouse in the state of Tennessee, you're wrong. You won't get a fair court hearing. You'll get a hearing that the governor tells the judges to order, because the governor promotes judges. So if you're a judge at the trial level and you rule against the governor, you're not going to get promoted and you'll probably lose your job. If you're a judge at the trial level, and you don't even get to be a judge unless you can get through their rigged Tennessee Board of Law examiners, you can pass the bar, you can graduate from law school. If you don't agree to worship the brass and worship the elite establishment, you won't even get your law license. Can't even go in a courtroom. Can't even practice unless you're drug in there under oath, because you're running drug in there by a warrant, false warrant, because you're running for public office. Is what they did to me. But so they control the entrance into the judicial system through the Board of Law Examiners. And then if you're a judge and you adjudicate fairly according to the Constitution, then and you rule for a citizen instead of the governor and violate the Constitution, then you'll lose your job or you'll sit at the trial level. If you trample on the Constitution, rule for the governor, put facts in there that don't exist, lie, cheat, rob, and steal from the populace, from the mass populace, don't rule for the elite class, they have their cloak of justice, which is illegitimate, then you won't get promoted. If you rule for the governor, stomp on the Constitution, add facts, convict somebody or take somebody's job or do whatever the governor tells you to do, Mr. Has-Been or Mr. Governor Bill Lee, then you'll get promoted to a higher position, because they know you'll rule for them at the trial level, so they'll give you a appellate level position. If you rule from the appellate level, then you'll be a Supreme Court justice, and then Supreme Court justice can figure out who they want in the coroner's office to get rid of whoever they want to and get stuff through their illegitimate court system. The court system in Tennessee is not legitimate. It's fake and false and crooked as hell. The way to cure that is to vote these dirtbags out of office. And so thank y'all. Yeah, we got a bunch of people in here. Like, share, comment, and contribute if you can. Resource mobilization theory, power to you the people. We can get our rights back, and that's what power to you the people is about. Banding together to vote and get a special prosecutor's office in office to vote the governor out of office, vote a governor that will back up the citizenry, will meet with the citizenry every day, maybe me, I don't know, and ask y'all what you want, and get a special prosecutor's office to investigate these dirty judges and arrest them and put them in jail for some of the mass crimes they're committing, for allowing the rich to drive drunk and them taking sober people off the roads. So the cure to drunk driving is we got to vote, get somebody in office that cares about human lives. Across the board, fairly. Arrest the elite people for drunk driving too. They're the only ones going to be on the roads. Pretty soon it's going to be drunk roads, because all the people in power are going to drive down the roads drunk, and troopers ain't going to be able to arrest them. They'll lose their jobs. So get in power. Have a governor that will meet with people daily, maybe weekly, in different cities, and find out what y'all want to do, and go to the governor's office and fulfill your will instead of the will of these crooks in power. Get a special prosecutor's office outside of the governor's office that will listen to people, investigate these judges, investigate these politicians, and apply the law fairly across the board to the populace. Revolt against these people that we're getting ready to go hungry in a few days. I mean, is it time to go? Is it time to fight them now? So the answer to drunk driving, according to studies, they did studies in Australia, Scandinavia, all across the world through years, time series studies. And the answer to drunk driving is enforcement of the law, arresting people and putting them in jail. They're making a new law here that goes effect in just a few months that is going to make it harder, going to make felonies out of first-time drunk driving offenders. Studies have shown, I'm talking from knowledge. I read the article the other day, time series studies from different people that have replicated the study that show that the way to stop drunk driving it doesn't work to increase penalties. Penalties don't work. That's not the way to do it. And the reason why they're increasing penalties is because they want to take you off the road. They don't want you to drive. And that's what the penalties will do, make it illegal for you to drive. So they're not trying to reduce drunk driving, they're trying to take you off the road so that they can drive on the road drunk, so that they have the road wide open for them, because they don't want you on their roads that you pay for. They want you to do all the work, like the farm animals, they don't want to feed you. They want you to pay for their roads, and then they're not going to let you drive by increasing penalties for drunk drivers. And that, according to time studies that I learned at the University of Tennessee, does not stop drunk driving. It has no effect on lowering the fatality rate. They can increase the penalties, they keep increasing the penalties. Drunk driving is a social problem as in addition to a criminal problem. So increasing the penalties just makes it a criminal problem. That's not the answer. The answer is to well publicize the deaths of people through drunk driving, promote alternative ways to get people and let people put out the information that I'm putting out. Don't drink and drive. Get a ride. Take a taxi. Or call a friend. Or stay where you're at. Don't drink and drive. It will cause you to get killed. It could cause you to get killed. People are pretty self-interested. Or you could kill somebody's kid. Don't do that. Don't drink and drive. Put the evidence out. And also, these bars and stuff need to profit them for stopping people from drinking and driving, for doing different things, taking people's keys away, helping them stop people from drinking or driving. Not monetary, but helping them stop people from drinking or driving. And also prosecuting these people, like in my case, that put somebody out on the road that got somebody drunk that's not even old enough to drive and put them out on the road instead of getting rid of the trooper that's enforcement end up that had nothing to do with it. Start charging these people that are giving alcohol to minors and start enforcing that law and making it punitive for them to do that. And the cure, according to the studies, to drunk driving is this: enforcement. 100 drunk driving arrests a year for troopers. That's completely appropriate. They need to do that. The troopers need to make 100 drunk driving arrests a year. They're not going to do that until we reform the system and get people in power that will honor hard work and dedication, like Trooper Marty Nix. Arrested a lot of drunk drivers, did a lot of traffic enforcement. Who's your daddy? He's not somebody that had power, so they got rid of him for reporting public corruption at THPP. So you either kiss the ring, it doesn't matter if you make 100 drunk driving arrests, you got to make 100 drunk driving arrests a year and kiss the ring and risk your life for them, and they do nothing. So if that's what kind of career you want, have at it. Be proud of that sick patch, that sick hat. It's disgusting. I was trying to get the hell out. I would encourage troopers to get the hell out of that job until we can get a governor in office that will promote hard work and dedication. Now, there are some counties, and I have troopers call me and tell me this, that you can't make 100 drunk driving arrests a year, and I agree with that. There's some counties that don't have a lot. At night, there's nobody out on the road. I get that. But they can make more than 2 drunk driving arrests a year, and they can have other activity. They can have motor assist and other activity. But they should shoot for 100 drunk driving arrests. That ought to be a low number. They ought to get 150 or more. If I hadn't had all the rules and the baloney that I had to go through THP and people over me, supervisors, trying to stop me from making arrests, some of them, not all of them, then I could have made a lot more than what I did. I had a lot of their bull crap I had to go through that stopped me from saving lives. You know, when a pen and a paper stops you from getting a little kid out of a car that the driver's drunk, there's a problem with the pen and paper. And what they're asking you to do, lives are more important than money, and lives are more important than their baloney rules that don't work, that only protects them and attorneys and judges. So the cure to drunk driving is 100 or more drunk driving arrests from every trooper across the board, and arrest everybody equally and fairly according to studies. That's what that shows. So that's the answer to drunk driving. Unlike people would have me to say that it's not arrest, it is too deterrence. Not penalties, deterrence. They should go down on the penalties, not raise them. The first offense should be a slap on the wrist. because they do that to rich people, or they even get completely out of it. So, and I don't believe in harsh punishment. If you're of the opinion that people should be incarcerated in a box for the rest of their life for years and years and years, then you have a fundamental disagreement with me. I think that people should only be in a box, incarcerated, taken away from society for years and years and years when we can't let them out. They can't live safely in society. It is well known, violent, dangerous people that are going to hurt, rob, and maim people, not just out of just some kind of vague fear of people. If you think that the prisons need to be fuller from people for years and years and years, then I don't agree with you. I don't like to see that. I don't agree with that. The United States of America has more people in prison than any nation in the world. Is it solving the crime problem? Hell no, it's not. If we put people in jail longer for more time, get harder and harder and harder on drunk driving, it won't reduce drunk driving. Little kids are still going to get killed, according to studies, according to science. The answer to that problem is more arrest and less penalty. Make it less punitive. How many times has this ever happened? Think about the alternative. Lessen the penalties for drunk driving. Make it a slap on the wrist the first time. The first time somebody gets arrested for drunk driving, they're not going to kill everybody. They probably made it home safe. Slap them on the wrist. The majority of people that get arrested for drunk driving the first time will never do it again. A trip to jail is enough. Sanction, give them a means to get it off their record. A slap on the wrist. That will lower show we're going to be fair across the board. The way to get rid of drunk drivers and to lower the fatality rate, to protect little children, that's not a popular opinion, but it is a scientific opinion from studies that are done, from numbers, is to increase the arrest rate of drunk drivers. Go out here and get them off the road, 100 of them or more. That's exactly right. Across the board, everybody, even Matt Perry needs to be out off his rich hind end, get out and make 100 drunk driving arrests a year. Why do we have colonels that sit in office to try to get people illegitimate? The colonel that got rid of me should have been out on the road doing what I was doing instead of setting up a fake false system to get rid of the leading trooper in the whole state that made more drunk driving arrests than anybody. Instead of wasting his time, wasting tax money, lying in court, committing crimes of the wealthy, crimes of the privileged, state crimes, government crimes, police crimes, he should have been out on the road protecting lives, making arrests like I was doing. But he wouldn't let me do that. He was too busy using your tax money to set up a fake court system to lie on me. So it's not real complicated. It's not real hard. Get rid of the crooks in power. And we'll have less little children get killed. So yeah, we got a bunch of people on here. Thank y'all so very much. Okay, yeah, we got some tractors in here. And good luck with that. That's not going to matter to me. People think, oh, I get my feelings hurt. I get my feelings hurt when I see little children dead in car wrecks. And I've seen that before. So tomorrow, we're not off here yet. We're going to talk about social movements. And here's part of the study that I'm talking about. More police visibility, stronger deterrent, harsher penalties equal little to no extra effect. Harsher penalties equal little to no extra effect. People feel getting caught, not how long they sit in jail. Certainty versus severity. So that is a study, the results of which are visibility and stronger deterrent, not harsher penalties, which is what they're trying to do. And the reason why they're doing harsher penalties is because the people in power, because they're not going to have to pay the penalties. You will. They'll get arrested, or they won't even get arrested. They'll get a free ride home. They won't have to go to court. They won't have to answer to anything. If they do go to court, it'll get dismissed. They won't have to pay the penalties. They won't have to do the jail time. The reason why they want harsher penalties is because the farm animals, you have to pay the penalty for the stuff that they're doing wrong. Two, they get out of it and you don't. So they don't care. They raise the penalties. They can give you, they'd like to have it $10 million and the rest of your life in jail. Because they do the same thing, but they get nothing. They don't get any of that. So they're not worried about severe penalties. They can have the harshest penalties, and that's fine. You get it, and they don't. So they don't care about penalties, but penalties don't reduce drunk driving. the stronger deterrent, arrest, taking people out of the cars and putting them in jail, the deterrent and less penalties would help the drunk driving problem. And they did this study across Britain, Cheshire week of high visibility breath test crashes fast, France roadblocks police deaths gains by 12 months, weaker enforcement, weaker results. So it is not. Finland, double prison terms, no change. So they double prison terms, no change. Australia, random breath testing, short-term drop. The big lesson about studies, deterrence is grounded in perception, not actual threat. So you got to arrest people. For real world, keep campaign visible and publicized, use frequent unpredictable enforcement. Don't rely on severe penalties, rely on certainty. So the way to reduce drunk driving drunk driving deaths is to arrest people who are drunk driving. So the Highway Patrol's got that part right. 100 drunk driving arrests for troopers across the board, I agree with. People don't like me saying that. I'll tell you the truth. That is absolutely correct. Arrest drunk drivers. The problem is they don't do it fairly across the board, and they don't arrest people that are in power. They don't arrest themselves, and they're using high penalties to try to own the roads, to take you off the roads. These people are elite people in power. It's not something I thought of off the top of my head. It's conflict theory. It is Karl Marx. Some of his thinking and theories that have been going on for 100 years. People in power fight for scarce resources. Groups fight for scarce resources. The roads are scarce resources. These people in power are fighting for the roads. They don't want you on the roads. They want the roads for themselves. So they're using drunk driving as a mechanism to take you off the roads, even when you're not guilty. They're charging people that are not guilty all across the state of Tennessee, people that aren't guilty. And you say, well, they get out of it. Some of them that are not guilty don't get out of it. They go to their courtrooms and they deal with their judges. A lot of people are convicted of drunk driving that are completely stone cold sober, and some of them are convicted of drunk driving that the trooper that arrested them is drunk, and they arrest a sober person and take the sober person off the road. They're fighting for the road space, and the trooper and the rich people in power are drunk, and they get to drive down. They're going to be drunk roads for the rich people, and sober people and poor people that don't have the means to fight it, that are drunk and should be taken off the roads temporarily, will not be able to use the roads. And they're using the drunk driving to control the roads, to control the road space. So it's not going to be roads that don't have drunk drivers in it. It's going to start being the elite people that get killed, which is what you see when you see judges that end up in deadly crashes because they've drunk and drove 100 times, and police have stopped them 100 times, but they don't arrest them. They arrest you, and they don't get caught until they get killed, because drunk driving is a risky task no matter who you are, and you might pay the consequences. So, they ought to apologize to me, and instead of promoting people that don't do drunk driving, they should have promoted me, or maybe even Marty Nix, or people that know how to do it, and the roads would have been safer. So by getting rid of me, they increased the fatality rate. It's went up 45%, and even more dangerous from the people that did it. Two of the people that got rid of me lied on me, did something very destructive and disgustingly dirty, setting up a situation, using the death of a young man to set up a disgusting situation. How disgusting they are. And got rid of me and made it dangerous for themselves. They're like gluttons. Both the people that were initiated my termination, I was out saving people off the roads, lowering the fatality rates on the way down, less people killed because of arrest. That's what lowers the fatality rate. Certainty of punishment, getting them out of the car. I did that more than anybody. I lowered the fatality rate more than anybody in the state. The people that didn't care about that used their time to facilitate a lie, your tax dollars to facilitate a lie, instead of getting out and doing the job themselves. Both of them made the roads more dangerous for their damn dirty, nasty selves. Imagine that. God works in mysterious ways, and stupidity will get you killed too. So I'm not just saying, I'm telling you the truth about things that they don't want you to hear. So thank y'all so very much for listening. If you like the show, like, share, spread the message. Power to you, the people movement. We can make a difference by voting these dirtbags out of office. Like, share, and comment. And we'll talk about the American heritage of freedom. It was July 4th, 1776, Declaration of Independence was signed, and it's the American heritage. We the people hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. So all of us are supposed to be created equal. And people in the highway patrol should be treated equal. You shouldn't be promoted all the way to colonel or be promoted all the way to major based on paying $5,000, $10,000, how much it is nowadays to a political position. You shouldn't be forced to make 100 DUI arrests a year when your buddy in the same district, because of who his daddy is, doesn't held to that standard, and you shouldn't be able to have to pick and choose who you arrest and who you don't. We hold these truths to be self-evident. It's going against the Constitution. They're trampling on the Constitution because they're saying not everybody's equal. We're making them equal. The people in power are doing this. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. We all have the right to due process. That among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And listen to this. The other part of it, that when government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to reinstitute a new government. That's our right under the Constitution. We're not breaking the law and trying to institute a new government. They are. They're the ones breaking the law. They're the ones violating the Constitution by treating one group of people better than others, by their power mongering, by their deceit and lies in their crooked Tennessee courtrooms. Like, share, comment, and they're the ones that are violating the Constitution. And contribute if you can. If you want this message to continue, then equality of opportunity means people should have an equal chance to succeed regardless of circumstances. At birth, not equal outcome. People are different in talent, intelligence, and ambition. So the Constitution doesn't guarantee equal outcome. It guarantees equal playing field across the board. They don't have an equal playing field in our government right now. People in government power in the state of Tennessee are using government power for you to take care of them off your tax money and their families and friends. And they're living off you, and their families living off you, and they're doing nothing but using the government to benefit themselves. They are lowering their taxes and ending their taxes and raising your taxes so that you can pay them for doing nothing. And they're breadcrumbing you, lying to you about things. The Tennessee judiciary, just right down here, LMU, Duncan School of Law, had a previous retired Tennessee Supreme Court justice that got buku money off tax money because it's a tax-funded school through federal student loans. Got me the average law school dean gets about $500,000 a year, and it's not money that comes from the student. It comes indirectly. It comes from tax money because the student gets federal student loan money. So they get federal student loan money, and goes into their pockets for having their name on the door after they're retired from the Unjustice Tennessee Unjust Court, and they're benefiting. And then their kids, they feed their kids and their family off tax money. And then when it comes to the student being able to practice law like me, then they won't let you practice law. So it's fine as long as you're giving them money, but then when you're going to compete with them, they don't let you do that. It's a system set up by them, for them, that tramples on the Constitution. They're living off you unjustly. They're crooks. They make it legal. They make laws where we can steal your money. It's legal. All right, it's legal for us to be retired from the bench and take student loan money, and we'll make it legal for us to lie in legal proceedings and deny people law license. After we said it's all right for them to go to school to pay us money, that's all right. That's fine. They can do that, but we'll rig it. Say they're not honest enough to practice law. They're honest enough to pay us money and go to law school. Like Dope Coke says, you can come to law school and pay us money, but when it comes to practicing law, making a living, taking money from us, then we won't let you do that, because that's the way the system's set up to feed us, and it's all set up for us, about like a bunch of dirty guts. So they're trampling on the Constitution. Everything's not fair. It's crooked. It's set up to benefit them. That's why I'm here today, not with a law license. That's not because I didn't pay my money to them. I once trusted the system. Do you trust the system? Go into court. You got a double agent. Your lawyer is working for them. He's not your lawyer. He's a double agent. That's not something I made up. That is science from criminology. Your lawyer is a double agent. It's literally an article written in a sociological handbook. They don't want me to be a lawyer because I won't be a double agent, where they step on the Constitution and don't give everybody the opportunity, don't give everybody due process. I would have said, wait a minute now, that's against the Constitution. Soldiers fought and died for their right to have a fair, unbiased judge. And the judges in Tennessee are not fair and unbiased. They are judges that want your money. They want your billfold. They want your money. They don't care about the Fifth Amendment. They don't care about your amendments. They want your dollar bill. They want to take every bit of it that you got. They got kids that don't work that they want to feed, that go to strip joints. They want to support prostitutes with your money. That's what they do with your tax money. There's a member of the board of law examiners that denied me my law license, and his son, I picked him up in a taxi, went to a strip joint, and he said in the class, the contracts professor, well, I always have to support my son. No, we're supporting your son. You're getting our money because he's on the board of law examiners that's paid by tax money, millions of dollars a year, and we're supporting your son, and you're getting the money that we're getting, and you're supporting your son that goes to strip joints. That's what these people in government power are doing. Now, that's pretty sick, but that's what's going on. So if you want to keep voting for people in office that are doing this stuff to you and be treated like a farm animal, where they don't even feed you, and they're going to get rid of it at the end of their life, they're even closing down hospitals, then go right ahead. I'm not behind that. And I think, power to you, the people, we need to vote these scumbags, these dirtbags, these sick people, these criminals and thugs that are worse than regular criminals, because regular criminals don't take an oath to uphold the Constitution, then they just trample right over it. Power to you, the people movement. We'll solve a lot of this. Join the movement to vote. The governor's race is coming up. So it's not equal opportunity. They rigged it. They're trying to take everybody off the roads. Taking all your power. Like, share, comment. And subscribe and contribute if you can. So we will continue here going over this about social movements. The government is set up based on the Constitution, the First Amendment. Freedom. Freedom's like gravity. If you don't have it in America, the nation falls. If you defy gravity, you'll fall. If you defy freedom, and this nation is defying freedom in the state of Tennessee, the governors think they're above the law. They ended their own taxes and raised yours. Governor Haslam ended the inheritance taxes only for the super rich people, and then raised your taxes, raised inheritance tax. So he ended his taxes. He got in government office, ended his taxes, and raised yours, so that they have more money to contribute to political campaigns, so they can lie to people and have people elected that are dirtbags, that are liars, build them up falsely. So freedom is like gravity. Freedom of thought and speech are laws. Take them away and society fails. So I should have freedom to stand out here on the sidewalk, or to run for public office, stand behind the 20-foot line at a polling and ask people to vote for me. And ask them if they want literature. I don't have the right to stop them from going into the polls. I never did that. I don't have a right to tell them they can't vote. I never said that. And I should have due process. They said I did things that I didn't do. They lied about me. So if you run for government office, you exercise your freedom of speech, they'll put you in jail. So we don't have freedom of speech. It doesn't exist. My jail photo is a prize. That's what they do to you when you stand up against the government. So people think I'm ashamed. I'm proud of that. There ain't many people stand for people's civil rights. They got a jail photo. A few of them, Dr. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, John Lewis, Lester Roloff, a few of us that have a photo, not for committing a crime, for freedom of speech, for showing that the government is falling hard. You got a jail photo because you say vote for me, and you're legally saying that. Now, they lied about what they did, but what they did is violate the Constitution. They trampled over soldiers' blood. That's what that jail photo represents. The Constitution doesn't exist for you. Shut up. We won't have it. You get on board. No, hell no, I'm not going to. That's why I'm out here today. Fund the movement. Power to you, the people, or it sinks. We have choices. If you want to live under this dictatorship in the state of Tennessee, where so-called elect Christians using the church have fooled you, and people are getting ready to starve in the next few days because Governor Bill Lee won't release the emergency fund to feed little children because that emergency fund is only for him. They'll release the emergency fund when one of their rich buddies in that power elite, one of their rich judges or one of their rich people needs some money. Then the emergency fund is for their emergencies. When little children are starving because EBT's getting ready to cut out, there's no emergency fund money for that, and that's what it should be. If I were the governor, I would be releasing some of that emergency money to feed little children, but he's a Christian and he don't do that. Yeah, what about the part where it says love your neighbor, you know? He loves his little children, but he don't love other people's children, and he shouldn't be the damn governor. Where his ass ought to be is behind bars. The governor ought to be behind bars. And I'm not a cruel person. I'm not unmerciful. We'll give him a Bible to read. He says he loves it. I don't think he's ever read it or knows anything that it says. I believe in the power of prayer. And I pray, a lot of people ain't gonna like this prayer, that the governor reaps the consequences of his evil actions. God can decide that. That's what I pray. I pray that God exposes Governor Bill Lee for the dirty Creek transvestite liar that he is, that is a danger to public safety. That's what I pray. A lot of you don't like that prayer. I can pray whatever I want to. God will show me if that's not the right prayer, and I think that it is. Because he is not out for public safety. And anybody in the Republican Party that runs for governor, that steps in his footstools, is a damn fool. Now, they'll get up. They don't like me saying this. He's the one who put me in jail. They don't like me saying this. They can get up, and he can hold a press conference today. They get up and honor themselves all day long, give themselves awards, talk about how great they are, how much great they've done to society, go to all these places where something's being built, where they rate people their tax money to build stuff, and talk about how great they are. And people honor him. Oh, he's so great. And if you give his campaign enough money, you can be major of the highway patrol or lieutenant colonel. But I don't have the right to stand up and say I think he belongs in jail. I think he's a criminal for the mass casualties on the roadways and for their ending their taxes and raising yours, for their not taking care of little children and reserving the emergency fund for themselves. They're treating us like a bunch of animals. The time is now not to revolt. They're revolters. They're revolting against us. They're protesters. There's some sick people in our government that call themselves Christians. They use the Bible to say I'm a good person, and they never read the Bible. What we need to do, and they're waiting for me to say do something violent. I don't ever say that. I don't believe in violence. I believe in loving your neighbors. I believe in loving your enemies. I love Governor Haslam and Governor Bill Lee. That's why I think that for their own safety, protection, and well-being, they need to be put in jail. They need to suffer consequences of their actions so they know how wicked they are. They don't know how wicked they are. They benefited off their travesty, how they've done the state of Tennessee. They ought to be in jail, and then they will see, hey, maybe this is wrong, and if we ever they better hope I never get in power. And the odds ain't good unless y'all pitch in and help. Because we'll put them in jail and give them a Bible. I'm not completely unreasonable. We'll give them a Bible to read. Maybe they can see what they're doing. So, freedom, power to govern, not oppress. They are oppressing us, like the farm animals. If you didn't hear that story, rewind the tape. It's at the beginning. I didn't make it up. It's a story. It talks about social movements from a farm animal situation. So, founders wanted government to rule fairly, not crush people. They use tax money for themselves. They're even going to tax us more in the city of Knoxville, and people think that's a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's crooked as hell. It's crooked as hell. So all these deputy sheriffs see me. They even watch me live on YouTube talking about how dirty the sheriff's department is. So like, share, comment. Let's see how many. Hello. Should be. So yeah, we got about 70 comments. Likes. Let's get over 100 comments. So we've been going about 2 hours. There's full of morons. A farm animal situation. Yeah, they treat us like farm animals. We turn this around, read some of the comments, and we'll continue. Bruce, not everyone is a self-sustaining, as independent, intelligent as you are. Well, that's what I'm seeing here, buddy. So, trying to deter people from thinking for themselves. Think, why is that guy on here for? Why is he on here? And listen to everything he says. You know, I'm not squelching speech. There are getting new cards called DEBT. I live and see what he's talking about. That's right, Pedro's Q83S, thank you. If the government can give it, they can take it. This is why you see signs, don't feed the animals. People become too reliant on the government to feed them. No. It's not the government feeding them. It's the government taking care of a social problem and doing their responsibility and not taking money to feed themselves, using money to feed little children. And anybody that don't agree with that there shouldn't be starving children in America, I can't go along with you. You want to watch a little child and politicize it and politic it and switch it up and down. The government shouldn't do this. No honest, just society should allow little children to starve, and some of them getting ready to. And you can deny it whatever you want to. If if you want to see that, I can't get along with you. That's not what I see. That's not what I know. Where'd you go to school at that taught you that? Jesus gave money in my EBT. That's right, he does. I hate loudmouths. Well, then shut the hell up. If you don't want to, go ahead and Google me. Believe everything Google says. Wow, don't look at the facts. The Georgia referee was terminated too. I mean, it's completely ridiculous what they're saying. Wow, okay. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love coming here and making fun of morons that refuse to research anything for themselves. Yeah, research and believe everything you hear and go right along. Just believe everything you hear like a little sheep to the slaughter. Don't think about things for yourself. Don't pick up a textbook and learn sociology. If you want to follow Mr. Old Glory, whatever, thank you for being on here and spreading hate because I spread love. You're right, thank you. Jay Davis said hi, hello. The Knox Kid Town, insanity at its best. Okay. Whoa, oh, you hurt me so bad. The gaslighting, oh, yeah, wow. Yeah. Why are you on here? Why are you listening to somebody insane? It's because I'm telling the truth and you got to stop me. So, money. Yeah, it takes money to drive a social movement. Proud of, Goon Patrol. Imagine getting pulled over by this goon. Yeah, I got videos and I'll show you what happened when you got pulled over for being drunk. It didn't matter who you was. If you was drunk, I applied the law fairly. So yeah, imagine a rich person getting pulled over by me. Yeah, they would have went to jail. Imagine a rich person's kid getting pulled over by me. They would have been to jail. So you got people on here like that they're part of the elite group that don't want to go to jail. So yeah, why did they ever give this guy a badge and gun? Yeah, and I still have a gun. I don't have their crooked badge, but I still have a gun. And if you try to hurt me, I still have a gun and I won't run. So get that, big tough guy hiding behind YouTube. Where you at? I don't see you out here. What a bunch of cowards. This guy go crazy after losing his job. No, after I lost my job, I continued in law school. I graduated from law school. Let's talk about facts. And I passed the Tennessee bar exam twice. So if that's crazy, what have you done? What did you do? You don't do nothing but get on YouTube and try to run somebody down. Oh, real good, real brilliant person. So I mean, what an idiot. I went to law school with limited funds, slept in my van in a car, slept in my van while I went to law school out in Nashville. with limited, meager means, fought my way through law school, graduated, passed the bar exam twice. So, you know, I mean, what have you done? Get on here. Poor people have poor people problems. Yeah, put on us by the government. So yeah, thank you all for the comments, even the bad ones. You know, I don't care. That doesn't detract me from speaking the truth to power. So yeah, thank you all, every one of y'all for being on here. Like, share, comment, and contribute if you can. Help the movement. Movements benefit by resources. We got 70 likes, so let's get up to 100 likes. You know, we're getting a lot of people on here. We're getting the word out big time. And thank you all for spreading the word. I appreciate it. And we'll continue going over the dialogue here. We've got some more stuff to cover. And got almost 100 people in here. So thank y'all so very much. Let's continue going over the dialogue. Look at the beautiful view behind me. And here we go. So, power to govern, not oppress. Founders wanted a government to rule fairly, not crush people. They crush false courts, hire their family and friends. That's what the government does now. Hire their family and friends to people in positions of power. Built-in change. The Constitution gave peaceful ways to fix problems. Votes, speech, and protests. So the Constitution allowed for people that don't like the way the government's going to protest, to say, hey, like Charles Van Morgan, I don't like the way things are going. I think the government's crooked. I don't think they're handling the drunk driving fairly. I think the courts are rogue. I think they rule for people in power and against the populace. I think if you go to a Tennessee courtroom, you'll get crooked lawyers, crooked judges, a biased, rigged system in their favor against you. That's what I'm allowed to say on the sidewalk, to contest the system, to say to vote these people out. That's what the founders of the Constitution intended, for me to be able to do that, because if I can get enough people to believe me, to look at the facts, and enough people to believe me, then what's supposed to happen is I get people on our side and we go to the polls and we vote these people out. But people don't know whether or not to be on my side if I'm not allowed to speak. If I'm not allowed to speak, then the people in power, there's only one side of the argument, and that's their side. So why do they put me in jail for speaking? Because they only want you to hear one side of the argument. They don't want you to hear my side. I've never committed any crime. What I have done is spoken out against people in power and ran for government office twice, and they haven't learned me any damn helplessness. I'm still going to keep trying. So there's no need for revolt if people can speak, vote, and organize freely. They don't have to fight violently. So why are they trying to stop me from speaking? I'm saying bad stuff about people in government power. I got a right to do that. If you don't believe me, then vote the other way. You got a right to do that. You can do that. I'm trying to tell you what the truth is, the way I see it from an educated perspective. I've got a Master of Arts in Sociology with emphasis in criminology. Look at the road backed up. The road's backed up and they're getting ready to raise your taxes. So yeah. But the founders left in the Constitution freedom of speech so that people can hear both sides of the argument. You can make up your own mind. If you think I'm wrong, keep voting these people in power. Keep letting kids starve. They're getting ready to go hungry, a bunch of them here in the next few days. And I don't think it's the president's fault. I don't think it is. I think it's other people in power that are trying to run him down. So no need for revolt. If people can speak and organize freely, they don't have to fight violently. Do we have to fight violently? Are they going to put me in jail again? I don't know. I'm not condoning any crime. I'm not condoning to fight violently. I'm still out here speaking. They did take me off my campaign trail. You don't see Governor Haslam or Governor Lee having to take time away from his campaign in a jail cell because he was asking people to vote for him. But my mugshot is a prize. The First Amendment is dead in the United States of America, in the state of Tennessee under these people. But I'm still fighting, and we need to vote. How many people have the privilege of being arrested, put through that situation for running for governor office. Not many, not many. Listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not a toy. I didn't go away. They thought when they arrested me that I'd be quiet. It just made it worse. It just made it worse. I explained to them how they were trampling on soldiers' blood that fought for my right to ask people to vote for me. If they arrested me for that, they're stomping on people's blood. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. I wish they'd released the video. You'll hear me telling them that. That's disgusting. I told them what you just did. I should be at the polls now, legally asking people to vote for me. And they wouldn't let me do that. They might arrest me now for saying, power to you, the people movement. Let's band together and go vote. They don't want me saying that. That's part of the Constitution. I'm supposed to be able to say that. They won't let me say that. Why not? Because we're losing our First Amendment right. We need to get in power to give people the First Amendment right. Even to give people the right to run against people in public office. They won't let you do that now. They won't let you do it. You can only run for public office if you're a billionaire. For somebody like me that has spent your life in sacrifice, serving the public, risking your life, even the night, the excuse they fired me. I could have been killed. 4 officers were killed the night I got killed doing the same thing I was doing. They said they flipped that around, lying about that, saying I did something wrong. No, they did something wrong. And they've increased the fatality rate, made it even more dangerous for them. So I have the right to say that. But if you say that, then they put you in jail. Look at my jail photo. I did no crime. If I committed a crime, they said I did all this stuff. Where's the body cam? Where's the evidence that I did any damn thing wrong? None of it. They said that I threatened to sue them. I did. And I did threaten to sue them. And I didn't just threaten, I did sue them. That's not a crime. Threatening to sue somebody is saying that you disagree with what's going on and you intend to handle it legitimately and right in a non-violent court of law. So when you tell somebody you're going to sue them, you're saying I'm going to handle this appropriately in a court of law. But the problem with that is, in a federal court or in a Tennessee court, you won't even get a fair hearing. So that's kind of useless now. Until we get in power, we're not going to have fair court systems. I have a right to say that. They can stand up and say their court systems are fair. Go look at them. Go sit in the courtrooms and see how fair you think they are. See who gets what, when, and where. It's the elite, powerful people. The basic assumption of American democracy, truth wins over lies. So if I'm lying, then the truth should win. Democracy is built on faith that truth defeats error when people are free to speak and think. So think for yourself. Don't listen to their lies. Think for yourself. I'm not even monitoring speech on this channel. I'm letting anybody say whatever they want to say. Go ahead and say it. Because the truth matters and the truth has weight and value, and you can't prove your lies, and I can prove the truth. So why did they arrest me? Why won't they let me speak? Because I'm speaking the truth, and the truth is more powerful than their dirty lies, and you'll go to jail too. So if you want to keep voting that way, hey, when you end up in jail, don't blame me. When you end up dead in a car wreck, don't blame me, because you did it to yourself by not voting, by not joining Power to You, the People movement. People must be trusted. A free people with full access to facts and open discussion will usually reach the right answers. If we believe people are too dumb to decide, democracy fails. So they think people are too dumb to decide because they won't let my side get out. I got a side too. It's almost went out to 1 million people. It's getting out pretty damn good. But they won't let me speak. They already put me in jail for saying that we need to vote them out of office. They put me in jail for saying, vote for me, I'm going to get rid of these people. I'm going to institute a special prosecutor's office to investigate some of the goings on in the back rooms of these people. Now, they got these civil rights, First Amendment people, and these lawyers that go after these police. They have these cameras and they get police on the street. Like one of them comes up to me now and tells me to shut up, I got to leave. And that's against my First Amendment right. And so I sue them in federal court and beat them, and they falsely arrested me for standing up, which I sued the people in federal court that arrested me wrongly in Chattanooga, which I won't go back to Chattanooga. People say, you ought to go back there and stand up for yourself. I ain't going back there and getting kneed in the back. You do it. You want to run for governor and get beat up in a city, and then you want to go back and stand up against them, you go right ahead. I'm not going to get beat on. I'm not a damn punching bag. Chattanooga is not a free city in the state of Tennessee, you can't go to Chattanooga and run for public office unless you got $1 million in your pocket. They arrested me falsely by their own admission. They dropped the charges, didn't they? If I'd have done half of what they said I'd have done any of it, don't you think they'd have got witnesses and prosecuted me? They just wanted to arrest me to send a message. We'll beat the hell out of you. Get the hell out of here. Don't you run for government office in this city unless you're part of the elite, got $1 million in your back pocket. That's the message they say, and I won't come back there. That's off limits. Chattanooga is a rogue state, worse than Russia, I believe, to a certain extent. I'm not going back there and getting beat on unless I have to for some business reason where I'm protected because I'm not getting beat on. I'm not standing up to people that beat on me. That's stupid. And people told me, you need to go back and stand up. Hell no, I ain't going back there and getting beat up. Chattanooga, I'll show you a mugshot from Chattanooga. That's all I need to show. Chattanoogans, you better vote. And don't vote for the people that are in office now. They won't let you speak. They'll put you in jail. So hell no, I ain't going back to Chattanooga. Hell no. So yeah, we got $1.99. Thank you all. Contribute to the movement. Yeah, we're getting some resources. So I'm not going back to Chattanooga. If somebody thinks I'm being brave to going back to Chattanooga, I'm not. That's not brave. That's stupid. John Lewis, I bet he didn't walk across that bridge again where he got the hell knocked out of him. Now, he went back later when the system was overturned in people's favor. And I'll go back to Chattanooga when the system's overturned, when I won't get beat up. Now, they didn't teach me nothing. I'll campaign around Chattanooga. But if you arrest me in your city falsely, I ain't coming back. You done said democracy ain't allowed here. You try to ask people to vote for you, and you don't come here, which is a constitutional right. So you don't have constitutional rights in Chattanooga. Chattanoogans, you do not have constitutional rights. Look up my jail photograph and find out what happens to you when you run for public office without $1 million like Haslam. You'll get arrested. They stomp all over soldiers' blood. And, they said I did something wrong. No, I didn't. Look it up. He got in. I didn't get into it with anybody. I asked people to vote for me in a professional manner, using my strategy to win public office. Didn't threaten, didn't intimidate, didn't block anybody. They even say they interviewed a lady. Look at what they're trying to tell you. They interviewed a lady and said, I was afraid to come back out to my car. You think about that. Somebody is afraid to come back out to the car. They're saying I interfered with her right to vote. So she's admitting that she wasn't too afraid to go in and vote. Wow, she was afraid. Don't you think she'd have went down the street and called the police? Somebody won't let me in to vote. No, she didn't do that. She went in to vote. She wasn't afraid. She wasn't afraid of all. She made that up. She lied. She's a liar. She went in to vote, and the people at the polls didn't want me out there stealing what they think is stealing votes. Democracy, will you vote for me? Some people, yeah, going to go in there vote. He stands out there all day. He's going to get people to vote for him. We got to get him out of here. We can't let him have a voice. So look at my jail photo. That's what went on. I know what they say, and I know what the truth is. I was there asking for people to vote for me. Asking for people to vote for me is illegal in Chattanooga. The Constitution doesn't. So soldiers, when you go to fight in foreign countries, or if you fight for this country, remember you're fighting for parts of Tennessee and other countries, but you're not fighting for Chattanooga, because what you're fighting for does not apply in Chattanooga, because the First Amendment doesn't apply in Chattanooga, depending on who you are. So just remember that, soldiers. That part is blocked off out of the country, that your rights don't apply in Chattanooga. Have I made that clear enough? So the lady said she was afraid to come back out to the car. So they said I interfered with her voting. So she voted. So what part did I stop her? She wasn't afraid. She went in and voted. She was afraid that I would convince other people to vote for me. Peacefully. I wasn't threatening anybody. Peacefully. So they wanted to make up a crime so that I couldn't ask other people to vote for me. If Bill Lee had been there, he'd have been allowed to vote, because he's in the crowd that protects the elite. But if you're going against the elite, you can't ask people to vote for you. You might stop a few. So, and even the Board of Law Examiners use that false arrest against me. They arrest you falsely, violate your rights, and they use a false arrest that violates your rights against you. Wow, isn't that real pretty how they do that? Such sick, calling good evil and evil good. I may run again, and if I run again, I'm not going to Chattanooga. You're not going to get the chance to beat on me. If you do beat on me, you'll be out of your jurisdiction, and I wouldn't even put that past you. You might have a Chattanooga officer come here to Knoxville and arrest me. Try to. You better have a warrant. But anyway, they said I resisted arrest. You think somebody resisted arrest? They're going to drop the charges. Hell no. The lady was not afraid. She wanted to get me away from the polls, getting people to vote for me. I think because she's a Democrat. They don't like some of my positions, so they don't want me to get people to vote for me. She lied. Let them show a video where I did something wrong that they say I did. One word, they said I told people they couldn't vote. Where's that? I never said that. They can vote for whoever they want to. I let people on here say whatever they want to. I asked people to vote for me. They were telling people actually what they were accusing me of they were doing. They were telling people they couldn't vote for me. That's what they were saying. They were saying I said you couldn't vote. No, they were telling people you can vote, you just can't vote for Van. That's what they were saying. It's the exact opposite of what they were saying. They said I resisted arrest. I didn't resist arrest. They violently beat on a completely compliant person that didn't do anything at all wrong. What I did wrong is, I stood on the Constitution and I criticized the government, but the other side that they don't want you to know because they want to maintain their illegitimate power over you. And you're getting ready, kids are getting ready to go hungry because of them. So they think people are dumb, that they don't need to hear my side. You can't decide whether it's true. Truth needs freedom to win, and democracy needs trust between the majority and the minority. They don't trust people, and they're not going to give you your democracy right now. The story I told you was Smelser's General Theory, 1966, General Theory of Collective Behavior. And the structural, the reason the farm animals were allowed, they actually had a social movement. And I told the story at the beginning of the video, and we'll tell it again. Thank y'all for the contribution. I appreciate it. Resource mobilization, we can get this movement going. So at the beginning of the video, we did a little ditty about farm animals, and I'll tell it to you again for new viewers, and you can wind it back. Is that there was a farm with an old boar named Major. This is just a little illustration written by Mr. Smelser of an example of collective behavior from 1963, Theory of Collective Behavior. And an old boar had a dream, and he got all the farm animals together, and they respected him, so they were going to listen to him. They got in the barn and listened to him because he said he had a dream, wanted to tell them about the dream. So they got all together, all the farm animals, and they said, hey, this is just a little ditty. They said, hey, he said, I'll tell you about the dream, but I want to tell you first about the conditions on the farm, that they're working us too hard and not feeding us enough. And they're exploiting us, the owner of the farm, Mr. Farmer Brown. And after we get where we're useless to him, he's going to end our life. And there's going to be a period of time, and that's what he had his dream about, where there's going to be a revolt. And he didn't know when that was, but he started this dialogue about bringing it to people's attention, which I'm doing this now, that we're being exploited, that we're working, benefiting them, they're not benefiting us, and they're going to get rid of us when we're no longer useful. They're getting rid of hospitals in the state of Tennessee, open up police departments. So what he did was, he told them that, and he started the dialogue. That's the structural conditions, basic conditions, the animal's ability to speak English, to assemble and to organize himself for expected rebellion, or conditions of structural conduciveness. So I'm just using this example. So they listened, they got together, and then pretty soon the Boer major died a few days later, and some of the other pigs got together, and they began to continue that dialogue. They'd never thought of that before. How we're being mistreated, and I'm starting the dialogue. We're being mistreated by people in government power, but I'm not going to die. I'm not going anywhere. And then the people got together, spread the dialogue, and then they thought it was, somebody don't like my show. That's reckless driving, you spin your tires. So they got together and spread the dialogue of the unfairness in the system of the farmer mistreating them and the farmer hands. And they talked about a future revolution. They didn't know what would happen in their lifetime or when it would happen. But they started that dialogue and said that would happen. And then what happened, that was in May when the Boer told them all this stuff and started the dialogue. And then in July, the farmer got drunk and went to the city on Saturday and didn't come back till Sunday afternoon. And the farm hands got up and they seen in the morning they seen the farmer was gone. So what they did was they milked the cows, but they didn't feed the farm animals, and they went rabbit hunting because the farmer wasn't there. So they went and they didn't feed the farm animals. They didn't feed all these people, all these animals. So what happened is they got hungry, and the farmer came home that Sunday evening after he'd been out drunk, fell asleep on his living room floor. And the farm animals, one of them, they got mad, the strain, which is what they're getting ready. People are going hungry here in the next few days. So one of the cows kicked the door open, and they went out and they kicked the door open, and they went out to the feeding bins and started eating. They took matters into their own hands, and then the farmer woke up and the farm hands went out there and they seen them. They kicked the door open. They were feeding themselves, and they got mad and they started whipping the animals. Got out whipped and stuff, and the animals started fighting back. They decided they weren't going to take that anymore, and the farm hands and the farmer Brown they had never seen them do that before, and the strain of not being eaten, not being fed right, and the Boer that had told them, hey, we're not being treated right, and it just got to a point where they didn't even get fed that morning. They were hungry. So they started running the farm hands and the farmer off the farm and slammed the gate shut. So they went to a city, and some people in the city asked them, well, what happened? And some of them said, well, I told the farmer Brown that some of the food that he was giving some of these people it was bad. He shouldn't have been given that food. That's what caused it. But other people would say, which is the truth, that it was a social movement, a social uprising of people, and that's exactly what happened. That's the elements necessary for a social movement. You have structural conditions, basic conditions, the animal's ability to speak English, to assemble, to organize themselves for an expected rebellion, the conditions of structural conduciveness. The second thing is structural strain, where they didn't get various immediate conditions, economic exploitation, etc. Poor communication between groups or nations can create a significant amount of tension or pressure for people. Structural strain can lessen people's willingness to stay within normal grounders. So them not getting fed made it difficult to stay within the structural norms of society. So they protested. They took charge and they took things in their own hands, and they got food. And the third thing is that's just using the farm animals as an example of what a social movement is. Easy and entertaining to understand. The growth and spread of a generalized belief as collective behavior or social movement, develop an interpretation of the situation and how to respond to it will begin to emerge. The organization, belief, support is break with conventional behavior. So they broke with conventional behavior. That's all three of those things are the progressives of the social movement, emphasizing the current social strain and the rewards collective activity will produce. So if we go vote these people out of office, we'll have a better society. At the beginning of the farm example, animals might have simply accepted harsh treatment for the rest of their lives. So, listen to what I'm saying. Don't accept this harsh treatment. The courts are crooked. The state government's crooked. They could not imagine any other way of living, but then old Van, I'm the young Van, explained it. So I'm trying to explain to you how they're mistreating you. It's crooked government. Participating factors. Some set of instances must initiate collective behavior or a social movement. The first three are the incidents that initiate the social movement. And I just told you that participating groundwork for stuff to be ready for a social movement. And the groundwork's ready right now. It is structural conditions, basic conditions. Look at the price of things nowadays, the exploitation of the government. Children are getting ready to go hungry. Structural strain versus immediate conditions, economic exploitation. Look at how they end their taxes and raise yours. Growth and spread of a generalized belief. That's what we're doing right here on YouTube, worldwide, live, in person, telling you the truth. That the government is exploiting you, making the roads more dangerous, trying to get the roads all for themselves. The whole dialogue, listen to the video, what I've already told you, what these people are doing to you and how they're getting by with it. Spread this message. It is powerful. It is the First Amendment. I got a right to say it. So all those conditions are conducive of a social movement, and the participating factors, some instance or set of instances must initiate collective behavior or a social movement. Those three factors create the environment, a situation that resembles a bone dry forest, which is right now a bone dry forest where they're exploiting us. Vulnerable to devastation by fire that will not occur, however, unless a match falls unleashed on the forest fire. So that's what we're trying to do. I'm trying to light a fire. Not a real one, symbolically. FBI, TBI, Knox County, THPP, UTPD, any government agency. I'm not promoting any violence. I'm not lighting a real fire. Hello? I'm not lighting a real fire. Symbolically lighting a fire through the environment, the bone dry forest. EBT's getting ready to go dry. Price of food's going up. They're getting ready to raise our taxes. They're supporting us off our tax money and supporting their families. You can't go in a Tennessee courtroom and have a fair hearing. It's biased only for promotions. It is a system set up from conflict theory about people elite. They're trying to legitimize. They're crooked over you. The environment's ready, and I'm trying to light a fire and tell you that's bone dry. It's getting worse. Trying to light a fire and tell people, join power to you, the people. And my message, FBI, TBI, all these government agencies, my message is for them to vote. Hello. There's nothing illegal about that. Don't arrest me. I don't want to get beat on again. I'm saying people vote. I got to look out. Watch out for people. FBI will come and arrest me. FBI, I'm saying vote these people out of office. Set up a special prosecutor's office, and it's really not funny. I mean, I was hurt for days, had to go to the hospital for asking people to vote. Isn't that amazing? In America. This ain't even Russia. I mean, this is America. Look at my mugshot. I'm proud of that. That's what happens when you say the government's dirty. If it's not dirty, they can stand up and say it's not dirty. What are you saying not true? But see, I have a little proof, and I'm arguing to the jury, you all, and showing you proof about how it's dirty. Look right down here where there used to be a hospital. There used to be a hospital right down here. Right down there used to be a hospital. There's no hospital. Right over there, there's a crooked courthouse where a rapist was at. There's a crooked building where a man at that building works. There's a man at that building that works there that denied me law license after I paid him for an education. Works at that building right there because he's friends with the judge. I'm telling you facts. Listen to my video about where they turned me down my law license, and listen to that dirtbag lawyer that works in that courthouse right across the street from his buddy refused to give me my law license. Bragged on the attorney, and how dare I run the judge down, my First Amendment rights. I wasn't even an attorney. I could have had the right to do that. They didn't let me have my law license because I'm defending the public, not defending them. If you want your law license, you got to defend them and stomp all over the Constitution and the public. That's the criteria, because they want to stay in illegitimate power. So I'm trying to light a fire, telling you the truth. If it's not the truth, hey, they got their legal rulings, and they can argue lies all day long. They don't make any sense. Think about what they're trying to tell you. Think about them, the EBT, starving children. And people argue there's no starving children in Knoxville and Tennessee. Yeah, there is. And then it's going to get worse. And the governor could release emergency funds. That's what emergency's for starving children. What more problem could there be than the most innocent in society going hungry? That's not emergency on the governor. He doesn't give a rat's ass about that. He cares about his buddy. He's going to release emergency funds when Governor Bill Haslam, the former governor, has an emergency because he don't want to spend his millions that he's exploited to get off people. So I'm trying to light a fire. If you think I'm not trying to light a fire and tell you some horrific stuff, and it's not made up stuff, it's all the truth, then you'd be wrong. I'm trying to start a fire and tell you some horrific stuff. Some stuff you say, wow, how does that happen? It happens because I'm lighting a fire. People need to get up and start going to vote and listen to what I'm telling you and do something about it at the voting booth. We have more people than they do that don't even participate. And I'm trying to show you the force is on fire. Come on now. Let's get up and go. We can blow them off the map. They don't have enough people to continue to do what they're doing to you. There's nowhere near the number of people. They have a limited number of people. If we get 27% of the people available, only a small part of the people available, we'll blow them off the map. And if we can convince some of them that you're going along with a program that benefits them at your expense, you're being lied to, then we even have to have less than 27%. So it can be done, and we're here to do it. Members share an ideology justifying their actions. They justify their actions real good, don't they? A social movement, is what I'm trying to start, is a collective activity to promote or resist change. We're promoting social change, a fair government for you. I might run for governor, I don't know. We'll see. I'll tell you, I'll suggest who you should vote for, somebody that recognizes power to you, the people movement. If they don't recognize power to you, the people, and will meet with people and do what you say, I want to endorse them as governor. I might run, I don't know. You can contribute now, and I ain't got to report it because I'm not running officially, and I may not run. When I run, it'll be at the last minute because then I have to start reporting to them what money I'm making. Right now, I don't have to report a damn thing to them other than the income tax, and I'll report that. Somebody contributed on here. Thank you so very much for that. A social movement can only move forward. I can only move forward helping your rights at my own expense. I'm the target out here. If you all contribute, and please do that. And if somebody just did, thank you. So a social movement has a sense of unity. All of y'all are welcome. Hey, we need to spread out and allow people in from the No Kings movement, from all movements. This is a movement. We'll listen to the people of No Kings. And we don't have to listen to their ultimate ideology. There's some good people in that movement, and I can understand some of the things that they were saying. I talked to some of them. Some of them are completely outrageous, but not all of them. Not all of them were completely unreasonable. They have the wrong agenda, because holding a sign up that says No Kings is not going to do a damn bit of good. It does raise awareness of what? That we don't have kings? How about raising awareness, and people can have a show of awareness? We'll hold up signs that say go vote, go vote. Not No Kings. We don't have kings. We have a voting booth. So if you think we have no kings, did you vote? And that's what I asked them. How many of you people here? many of you people here at this No Kings protest, and there's some good people there, we need to reach out to them. How many of you people at this No Kings protest voted? I bet not very many of them did. And that's my message, is to go vote. We need to reach out to other people and other social movement organizations that some of them have their own basic ideals behind how to go about it, but we don't have kings. We need to get people in office. We have elections that will go vote for the right people that will represent people. And we need to reach out to churches and reach out to all people. I had people at churches, some good people, that put their hand on me when I was running for office and prayed for me. And I thank you so much for that. That means more to me for a pastor of a church to pray for me. And God works. God hears people's prayers, and reach out to people at churches and reach out to people and ask them to join Power to You, the People movement, and get together and get a government that represents the populace, the people, and kick these elite power people, power mongers, that you call them kings. They got elected into office because we didn't vote. They're not kings. They got elected into office by a proxy, and I've explained how that works out. And we need to all get together and vote for people that will represent the populace, and not no kings. Have people that we vote for, that we get off our couch and go vote for people, instead of just represent the people that are in power, that are promoted by the people in power, that are elected using campaign money, that's tax money, that have yard signs that are street signs honoring their name for stupidity. So we need to have a sense of unity. Spread the message to everybody. A set of norms prescribing members' behaviors. The only behavior that I subscribe is that people exercise their First Amendment right, and that people vote. Go to the voting booths and vote. I respect people, and I think that people will make wise decisions. I have a hole that they've dug for me. I can't win elections because people in government power have said I'm bad. And the people that vote, they spread the word, because the only people that vote are the people they have a proxy over. And they've told them, oh, don't vote for him. So they don't vote for me. But there's a mass majority of people that don't participate because you've learned helplessness, that if you vote, then I could win any office in the country easily, hands down, wouldn't be a problem because people trust me. But it's the people that don't participate that are on my side. So I'm asking you to participate. And if you have voted in the past before and you don't like what happens, Power to You, the People movement. I promise to meet with people. We're doing news now all across the state, and when we have the opportunity and funds to do that. But I promise to meet with people and listen to y'all. I've been doing this for 5 years, listening to people all across the state. I have my finger on the pulse of people. I know what you all think, and I agree with you all. I agree with what you think. Reasonable people across the state of Tennessee. And God loves you, and you're not cruel. You're very good people. If you meet people like I have all across the state of Tennessee, you understand why God loves people. The Bible says, for God so loved the world. I understand why God loves the world. It's talking about people. People are great. I love people. God loves people. The government doesn't work for you. They love themselves. They've infiltrated our government. They're getting foreigners over here, and we need to get rid of them. The behavior that I say is to exercise your First Amendment right. Listen to what I'm saying. Get off the couch. The behavior that I want people to do is simple. Vote. Remember, voters of truth enraged, and when we win office, it'll be voters of truth and courage. You know, they give acronyms to these fancy social movement organizations, and there's a lot of good ones. They make social change. They make good change in society. They go outside the norms, the institutions that have been corrupted, and handle things extra institutional means. And the institutional means is to gossip and spread the message, the truthful message, to join Power to You, the People, and to vote. Voters of truth enraged. And if you live in Tennessee, call it voters of Tennessee enraged. And after we get in power, it will be, after we take over the governor's office and we start listening to you, the people, and I know what you think. And I agree with you. You're wonderful people. If you all ran the government to be better, but y'all don't participate and you listen to lies because they're not listening to you. They're not going to do what you say. They take care of themselves. Look at the people in power. and look at who's their daddy, or who's their uncle, or what party lifted them up to the position. They could go down here under the bridge and get a Republican to run for governor next, and he'd probably win the governor's office. Some good-for-nothing thug that doesn't work and does drugs. That's all the party name. How about get somebody that's educated, qualified, and has agreed to listen to you and do what you asked them to do? And I know what y'all have asked me to do when I ran. I'm not running yet. I'm not telling you that. I don't know. I'll tell you who I think should win. But I know what y'all think, and I agree with you, and I agree to listen more. But the only behavior that I'm prescribing to members of voters of Truth and Rage, if you're Tennessee voters, Tennessee and Rage, is to vote. Remember that. If you don't remember anything else, if you haven't voted, vote. And if you voted and you're responsible for this atrocity that's going on, listen to what these people in power are telling you, and look at people that are in power and ask what they're doing. They're lowering their taxes, and in fact, that's not true. They're ending their taxes and raising yours and living off your money wrongfully. Some division of labor. So contribute to the movement. If you can't contribute, like, share, comment, and call people, and get them to contribute and participate in the social movement, which is a collective activity to promote social change. And we members share an ideology to justify their actions. Our ideology is that there's more of us, and we can turn the government in our favor. It's real simple, not complicated. I mentioned about the video where they're telling the troopers to get over 100 DUIs. Let me say, I'm for public safety. They should be arresting people. There should be 100. They should promote 100 DUIs. And troopers, you should do that. You should obey the law and honor your oath until you get the hell out of there. If you're in the highway patrol, make 100 drunk driving arrests a year, good ones, no matter what troopers it is, and even if it's not fair, because you swore an oath, and my position is you should do that to make the roads safer, because it's going up 45% more, and you got some big shoes to fill, because they lied about me and took me off the road. So thank you all so very much for listening. This is Charles Van Morgan. Remember, vote. Voters of Tennessee enraged, or when we get power encouraged. And if you don't live in Tennessee, voters of truth encouraged today, because we've got this message out coming up on probably close to 1 million people in the next few days. And we got some funding. We're going to keep getting funding. Enjoy the beautiful view of the river here in Knoxville, Tennessee. The beautiful river. And we will probably, most likely, in the bridge. That bridge has been there since 1898. Beautiful bridge. We got a little football game this week right there in Neyland Stadium, and it says Vols on. You know what the Vols mean to me is, I like little acronyms. It's VOLS. It's Van Only the Lord Saves. So I thought of that years and years ago. It makes sense to me. So little personal thing. As long as we're on the planet, we gotta do what we can to feed the little children, feed the hungry, and going about it from the church in a perspective of emergency on the scene, feeding people is good, but it's not enough. It's not enough. We need to change the structure of our government in the state of Tennessee. Fundamental change instead of the patches. And there's a lot of great people and a lot of great churches out here feeding the hungry, and I appreciate that. The structure of the government is so that you're going to have to start doing it more, and it's going to get out of hand where you don't have the means to do it until we change the structure of the gluttonous people in power that are raping us of our pride, self-esteem, of our money and our property, and making us work for them for nothing until we change the structure and get a government and a courthouse right here that's fair. There's the crooked courthouse. The stupid crooked courthouse that's got a parking garage under the courthouse. Until we change the structure of the government, then those are just patches that aren't going to work. And they're good, and I appreciate people doing that. They do a lot of good. I know pastors that do that. That's great. Feed the hungry. But the food pantries are running out of food right now. So that's not a long-term fix. The long-term fix is to vote, we change the structure of the government, get all these gluttons that are feeding off our tax money, get all these gluttons, there's a fan, get all these gluttons that are feeding off our tax money, and there's some fans, I appreciate that. If you drive by, wave. Get all these gluttons that are feeding off our tax money, and we're supporting them and working us to death, and we're not getting benefits, and put them in jail. Put them in that. There's a jail cell right there that'll be good for them. Right in there, little jail cells, and put Bill Haslam. He can get him a jail cell there, and give him a Bible. Until we change the structure of the government, these patches that are good, people say, you know, I could go feed some poor people today, and I may do that. And I do what I can to help. But that's a patch. That my long-term calling is to get in office maybe, or get somebody else in office and restructure the government to make it fair, to make it according to the Constitution of the United States of America, and not biased like it is now and crooked and corrupt. Where they want our roads, they're using drunk driving to take over our roads and give it to them so that they can drive drunk on the roads, and taking our property and taking all the resources for themselves against us. So we may be back on here tomorrow. If there's some news to cover today, wherever it may be, we'll try to travel to news, boots on the ground. The only way you can find out what the real news is going on, not what the news tells you, if you're actually there and see it, or talk to people and listen to them and know what's going on. Can't believe Google. You can't believe the news channels. You can't believe the government. You can't believe the courts. You can believe what you see with your own two eyes, and what you listen to honest people that have no stake in it, or honest people, civilians, what they're telling you is going on. Otherwise, you can look at times and dates and circumstances in totality, but you don't necessarily, the story they're trying to tell you is not right most of the time. And that's what we're going to try to correct when we see news that we can go to. We're going to travel across the state, talk to people, look at the scene, and tell you our take on it, and ask you what you all think your take on it is. And listen to people to get the truth out. Voters of truth, encouraged, and try to get people in office that will represent the people and put the crooks in jail. Most of the people in public office now ought to be in that courthouse in jail right now, and do some time to deter other people from what they're doing to us right now. It is very wrong, and I'm trying to light a fire, and the wind's blowing. I keep striking the matches, not little ones, FBI or TBI, but the matches that infuriate the public because of the truth that they don't want me to say. They've already put me in jail for it. Thank you very much. It's a trophy. I'm honored of my jail photograph. One of the few people that have earned that right to speak up, because I paid the price, and I'm still out here speaking, and I will speak and continue to stop their protest against us. People in government power are protesting us. We are the government. They've infiltrated it. As long as we're funded, resources, we need resources. We need people getting the message out. We need money to fund advertising. We need supporters. We need messengers. We need people to call on their phone. And listen to this. We need people to gossip. Gossip is truthful messages that don't come through formal channels. Gossip is a good thing. You shouldn't gossip about people badly, but you should gossip about people in government power that are doing wrong and mistreating, and children are dying. You should gossip about that. It's an informal channel, and gossip is based on truth. You can read it in sociological handbooks. Rumor is stuff that you think is true, but there's no factual basis to it. You don't know for sure. Like Rock Hudson, there's a rumor that he had AIDS. There's no factual basis to that other than the fact that he was losing weight and people said he was a homosexual. Later he came out and admitted that he was, and he had AIDS, and then it became a fact. But gossip is saying stuff that has truth to it, like the fact that the governor is promoting people based on politics, and we can see that he knows that he's promoting people that have violated, that are stealing valor. We know that's a rumor. Spread that rumor, because they won't put it out in official channels, and it is true, because I showed you a picture of a major that is saying she's part of the 11th 75th Division of the Army National Guard. So let's see what we got in here. So we almost got 100 likes. Like and share. Let's get 100 likes today. And we almost been on here for 2 hours, 3 hours. So that's a gossip. I'm gossiping about Major Stacey Headley, but gossip is a good thing. It's based on the truth, and it's designed to protect you. So we need people that'll gossip, good gossip, like good trouble, good gossip, and spread the message. Power to you, the people. Vote. Remember, vote. Spread the message of vote. Voters of Tennessee, enraged. Let's light the fire. Tell people how the government's not serving you, how crooked it is. You won't hear that anywhere else except for Charles Van Morgan. Live and close person with boots on the ground, with my life in danger. And I hope and pray for my safety. I hope and pray for the public safety. And that's what I'm trying to do, provide for your safety by starting this movement, trying to light a fire with vote. So we need people that contribute money, resources, and we need people who will spread the gossip about how dirty the government is, try to light the fire, try to point out how bone dry the forest is, how bone dry these people in government power are, and spread the gossip of how dirty they are. If you can, go to the courthouses and sit in these courthouses like Mad does and listen to some of the dirty things these judges do, and don't disrupt the courthouse. Put it on my YouTube page. Go through the survey, the anonymous survey, and report the government corruption to me. I'll put it out live to a million people all over the world. They're not going to hide. We'll shine a light and they'll run like a bunch of rats, because they are rats. People in government power are dirty as hell. And let's spread the message and get the word out. And the ultimate goal and the ultimate message is power to you, the people, through vote. Voters of Tennessee, or voters of truth and rage. So the message through gossip, the gossip is run the government down with truth. Gossip is truthful information. And here's some angels. And we only like about 7 more likes, and we'll have 100. And we'll have 100 likes. So let's get 100 likes before we get off here. If you know somebody, call them and get them to like the channel, and subscribe if you can. Like, share, subscribe, and that helps the movement to like the channel. It spreads the message through the algorithm if you can like. And we need some people to spread the gossip. And ultimately, the result of the fire that we're trying to light is tell people about the bone dry government, and we'll light the fire, through, and then the ultimate result is to get people to vote, V-O-T-E, voters of truth. And when we get in office, we'll be voters of truth, encouraged. Right now, we need to get enraged. And contribute money if you can, resources. That's how social movements function and how they're able to get the message out, is through strain. But strain's not enough. Getting angry is not enough. The Bible says be angry and sin not. So we need to get angry and go to him and vote. And don't do wrong, and don't commit acts of violence. Being unruly and loud and boisterous is not unruly. It's not illegal. It might be a little unruly. They don't like it. And call your friends and family. Resource mobilization. We can survive if we get money and resources, and we're working on that every day the best we can. And let's see how many people we got in here. So we got 93 people in here, and we need 93 more. And we don't need, well, we need 100 more. So we need 7 more people to join the movement and hit the like button and the subscribe button. And then we'll close down the show. We may come live again today if we have some more news to report. So we still got about 42 people in here. Call somebody and get them to hit the like button. We're going to get over 100 likes. Got 93 now. And that helps the algorithm, helps the vote, helps voters of truth enraged. And if you get 100, it'll be voters of truth and courage. So we got 94. Thank you all. And we got 6 more likes. So we need people to contribute to the movement with money, resources, and work. The work is to gossip about the truth, tell people how dirty the government is. Listen to some of my videos, they'll tell you the truth. And also spread the YouTube video. 97, only got 3 more. You want me to shut up? You want me to shut up? Hit the like button. And so we need 3 more. And spread the gossip. Contribute money if you can. Fund the movement. And there's other things you can do that don't involve money. If you can't give money, I understand that. Hey, I don't have a lot of money either. But it takes money to spread the resources. And that's what we need to spread the social movement. We got 97, need 3 more likes, so we'll stay on here, keep the channel open. And if some news happens today, hey, we'll go somewhere else. And wherever the news is, with boots on the ground, spreading the message. We've gone over 3 hours today, so we had a lot to cover. And we appreciate y'all for listening. Thank y'all so very much. So we like 3 more. We're going to get 3 more likes. Maybe not. I'd like to get over 100. And so the seriousness of the issue is that, you know, the bone dry forest is getting a little bone dry, is that they're cutting out food for children here in a few days because people in government power can't get along. And Governor Lee should release the emergency funds to feed little children. That's emergency when little children get hungry. There's no more emergency than that. And he's not going to do that. So remind people, call people. And the food pantries are running out of food because there's so much need right now. And I get, if you can't work, if you don't work, you shouldn't eat. And that does not apply to little children. We're going to put little children to work. And also handicapped people. And people that have a disability that can't work. And people that have lost their job. Maybe they're hurt for a temporary time. The safety net. The social safety net is gone, and people are going to starve. And if that doesn't bother you, you want to excuse it by standing on the biblical principle: if you don't work, you don't eat. Then that biblical principle doesn't include people that can't work, and it doesn't include little children. We're going to make people that can't work hobble to work in pain. I mean, we live in a real world with real problems. And if you can't work, if you don't work, and you can, sure, they'll give you food stamps. But there are people that can't work, and that's who get food stamps for the most part. There's people that fraud the system. We need to work on enforcing the fraud. I get it. But I'd rather children eat, and a few people get it that shouldn't get food stamps, than little children go hungry. I'd rather err on the side of feeding little children instead of explaining to children where you're hungry, because we're afraid that somebody might get it that don't need it. Now what we need to do is enforce the law and feed the children and feed the handicapped and feed the elderly. Feed the elderly. That's what we need to do. And if you don't agree with that, then I can't help you. You got your point of view, and I got mine. I got my truth, and I'm sticking to it. So we like three more likes, and we'll get the heck off the channel. Maybe. Got 97. We need 3 more. It'll help the algorithm. And we got about 46 people on here. So thank y'all very much for hanging in here. We've gone on for 3 hours, and we even got somebody to contribute. So thank y'all very much. And we're gonna shut her down. She's sucking mud. That's what they say about a Jeep. It's stuck in the mud. So we're stuck on 97, and that's good. If we can get one more, hey, 98, then we'll be happy with that. Somebody hit the like button, and but we're gonna get the heck off here. The last thing I always say is, God loves you. Oh, we got 98. So what we may say. But God loves you, but I won't say the other last thing I say. We're gonna need to get 100. Got 98. Let's hit another like. Get 100 likes for the day. Let's see if there's any questions somebody wants to ask me. We'll look at Chattanooga, Gordon, Kyle, Anito. Yeah, and somebody that was dangerous to himself and other people. Dangerous to himself and other people. That's the truth. I was stone cold sober, protecting society. I'm proud of what I did. And why don't somebody mention Patrick Fitzgibbon? You mentioned that man, I'm not even going to say his name again, who died in a violent wreck that he caused himself. A violent wreck he did himself. And you want to idolize him. And what about Patrick Fitzgibbon, who was a soldier, 19 years old, younger than that guy that killed himself? Patrick Fitzgibbon died in Afghanistan fighting for Americans and fighting for the Constitution, fighting for fair courts, fighting for truth. And y'all mention that guy. And I'll mention Patrick Fitzgibbon. That's a hero. That's a hero. And that's who I will talk about. Now, it's sad. Could happen to anybody, and it's a social problem. I get it. He's not completely responsible for what he did. People got him drunk, and he wasn't old enough to drink. And the ready availability of alcohol and the lack of enforcement of people that give young people to drink, I get it. It's a social problem and a criminal problem. But he's partly responsible for what happened to him. If he had stopped like 150 other people that I arrested that year, I got into custody, saved their life, then he wouldn't be dead. So he did that to himself. So you can mention that to all you want to. He's not a martyr. He is a victim of himself that did something wrong. And I did everything right. So I'm glad you mentioned that. But how about put it in there? Anybody want to mention, put it in the comments. We need one more like Patrick Fitzgibbon, a soldier, a young man, 19 years old, that was in the military, on patrol in the military, wasn't drunk, on patrol in the military, following orders on patrol, and risked his life for me and you, stepped on a roadside bomb that was invisible and blew up in several different pieces, fighting for the Constitution that gives us the right to the First Amendment and the right to honest courts, honest judges, honest judiciary, and gives me the right to run for office and not get arrested. You want to mention that? Patrick Fitzgibbon, the one that stood for something, the one that gave his life for something valuable. Not somebody died uselessly out of their own foolishness and other people's foolishness. And the trooper doing a great job should get an award for what he did that night, risking his life for somebody's life that didn't even deserve it. Now that's the truth. Now if you want to spin it another way, go ahead. You could talk bad about Patrick Fitzgibbon if you want to. I'd say you're pretty disgusting. Somebody that risked their life for the Constitution, and you're pretty disgusting for speaking out against me, somebody that risked their life for public safety. And everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. That's a dirty lie. And that's a lie from people in government power that are trying to spin it to stay in power. None of that is true. None of that is true. People committed crimes against you, defying the Constitution, stepping all over Patrick Fitzgibbon's blood to get that through one of their crooked court systems. So that's the truth. So that's not something I'm ashamed of. That's something you ought to be ashamed of for changing the facts, like running down a soldier. Don't blame the soldier. And that's what you're doing. And that's the government's fault, because I wasn't a public person when I did that. I was acting on the government's behalf, acting appropriately and justifiably, doing what I should have been doing, exactly how I should have been doing it. And that's the truth. If you want to spin that, then you're putting somebody's name that died in a violent death, their own violence, that killed themselves, and trying to run down the soldier, like Vietnam soldiers, that was doing the right thing, trying to protect him and everybody else. And you're flipping something that's wrong. I got 100 likes, and the truth has value and merit. The truth matters. So you can lie. That's a dirty lie, and it's a sick lie. It's a sick lie. And there's some sick people that do that. But what I would mention is Patrick Fitzgibbon, a young man too, that died fighting for you. And that young man you just listed died of his own violence. And the horrific tale that people in the Highway Patrol have told is pretty sick and disgusting. And so go ahead, that doesn't bother me. I ought to get an award for that. There's some sick people in this country. And you can say whatever you want to say. I got a right to set the record straight, which brings me to my book. Buy my book, $149. If you want an electronic copy, email me at Charles Van Morgan, no hyphens or anything, just charlesvanmorgan@gmail.com. And I'll send you my book, The Former Trooper Charles Van Morgan Story, to save lives and set the record straight, and we'll show you facts and evidence and tell you the truth about the situation. Show you documents and testimony under oath, and show you what somebody that did the right thing is, and show you about government liars that own the courts, and they think they own the truth. They might own the courts, but they don't own the truth. The courts lie. So buy my book, $149. You want a signed copy, send me, let me know, and it costs a little more. We'll have to print it, and we'll send you The Former Trooper Charles Van Morgan Story in an effort to save lives and set the record straight. And, if you want to believe dirty judges in robes, go ahead. I don't. Most of y'all don't either, and we appreciate you. If you disagree with me, stay on here. You're helping the movement. I'm not against freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want to. You can lie on it if you want to. You can lie all you want to. I don't care. I'll tell you the truth with proof and facts. And I don't care who don't like me. I got a right to defend myself, and I damn sure will. So you got some bad data if you think I'm a coward running. I wasn't running from anybody. Somebody else was running and did something bad to themselves, and everybody knows that. So buy my book. We'll set the record straight. Thank you for selling my book. We know what they say, bring up somebody's name that violently killed themselves drunk. in a bad, horrific wreck that I was trying to save their life. And think about Patrick Fitzgibbon, a young man too, that died in Afghanistan fighting for you and the Constitution that these people in Tennessee run all over. So, God bless you all. God loves you, and I do too. Till next time.